want to call you crazy when you be seeing doubles. They put it right in your face. Which one is the real John Cena? I believe it's this one, but at the same time, I don't know. It could be this one. My point is, if they wanted to, they can switch the real one out for the fake one. So based off this picture right here, would it be too crazy to think that they out here replacing celebrities?
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here, you guys don't know what we do, let me talk about it right now, man. We break down scary and creepy videos that's gonna make us question everything. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Seek the truth.
You might have actually found a real demon inside of a hole. Watch this.
Escucharon,
I don't know what she's saying, but she's approaching this hole,
escucharon eso?
3:33 in the morning.
and what she hears from this hole is freaking insane.
Se oye allá abajo.
There's something in that hole.
Yeah.
Whatever that is has glowing eyes. She sounds sincerely terrified, honestly. She is running for her life. Stay weird.
The video at the end is high-key terrifying. This is a brand of Korean eyewear that is called Gentle Monster, and they have the weirdest things ever, but these massive animatronic heads are the things of absolute nightmares. Why are there two of them with their ponytails tied together? That is horrific. This kind of looks like an umbilical cord. These are just like in the store, like a Lens Crafters, but like in Korea. You go in and what does this have to do with glasses? Like, I guess I understand the giant eyeball with the eyebrow piercing kind of has something to do with glasses, but it doesn't even have glasses on. I mean, it's an eyeball, but like, what is the, seriously? They even had like buffaloes in their store. What do buffaloes have to do with eyeglasses? What? Also, damn dude, for free? They had this massive guy in there as well. But these giant heads freak me out something fierce. And having to be in the room with these massive heads, no. This one is of mommy, daddy, and baby, and their creepy little umbilical cords, and I hate them. There's like multiple of these stores. Apparently there's one in Las Vegas, there's one in the Philippines, obviously there's one in South Korea where like the brand is from. Like all of the like mechanics behind the head, that is so incredibly disturbing. Am I the only one scared of giant animatronics? This is not only triggering my megalophobia, but also my animatronic phobia and like my phobia of dolls.
That is weird, bro. Imagine going to the store like that. You bring your kid in, it's gonna scar them for life, man.
If you're still not convinced that there is a glitch in the Matrix or something is going on in our atmosphere, take a look at this. China saw 7 suns at the same time. You heard what I said. 7 suns in the sky at the same time. As a matter of fact, take a look at this video. Look at this. Watch. Count.
Okay.
Look at this. 7.
In a row.
7 suns in their sky in China.
Creepy.
You tell me what's going on. Some experts claim that this is an optical illusion. What are your thoughts? So to recap, along with all the tragic and crazy flooding happening all across the world, 7 suns have appeared in the sky over China. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as to what you think is going on. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
So I'm
It's an illusion.
that 3-Eye Atlas, little alien mothership that they're saying is coming towards Earth, is really just wormwood from the book of Revelation. If you are not familiar with wormwood, it is a star that will fall from heaven, and this star will be called wormwood. And this is Revelation 8, verse 10 and 11. I'm reading from the Bible app Haven, and it says, "And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as if it were a lamp. And it fell unto the third of the rivers, and upon the fountains of the water. And the name of the star is Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died because of the waters, because they were made bitter." starting to think that that's exactly what 3-Eye Atlas is. Could 3-Eye Atlas be Wormwood? And if it is Wormwood, I'm not gonna lie, this is very dramatic of God to make it be this long. However, I think it's either that or it's absolutely nothing, and they're completely just lying to us like they normally do. Or it's that other thing that you're not allowed to say on TikTok for some reason. You know, PBB.
Here's some of this.
What do you guys think of that 3-Eye Atlas, man? I've been seeing a lot of videos floating around, bro. Could it be actually Project Wormwood? That would throw a wrench in things. I could go deep down that rabbit hole if you guys want a whole video on the 3-Eye Atlas. I can put some clips out there for y'all.
Scariest SCPs out there. SCP-049 is a creature that looks like a typical plague doctor at first glance. But in reality, this attire is part of its body, being permanently fused to its flesh. Its only goal is to rid the world of the disease, which has yet to be explained upon. It chooses patients to operate on, and once you're selected, it's too late. Its touch is fatal, and when you're chosen, it will cut you open and tinker around inside of you with its strange tools and serums. Once you're sewn back up, you will reanimate, but you will never be the same. Lacking any higher brain functions, you will wander about until you find another human being. You will then go crazy and rip that person apart uncontrollably.
So basically,
100 million red crabs are taking over an Australian island right now. Oh, but the comments from Africans on these videos are wild. You see, every year, millions of these red crabs swarm Christmas Island as they begin their migration from the forest to the ocean to breed. Upon reaching the shores, the male crabs dig out these little burrows for the females, where they then spend the next 2 weeks laying eggs and incubating them. But because they absolutely blanket streets and walkways, residents of this island have to close down entire roads, make sure that they keep their doors closed, and even have to keep garden rakes and leaf blowers with them to prevent crushing the crabs. So while they're trying to keep them safe, how are you guys in the comments saying, let them try this nonsense here in Nigeria? Crabs cannot have this kind of freedom in Ghana, not in Africa. By now, people are fighting over them. Hey, yeah.
Feds is about to run through the NBA. This morning, the feds locked up Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier for having a gambling ring. Mind you, when I saw this shit this morning, I'm thinking they just gambling, playing cards, dice, shit like that. Nope. And that's why I said they're about to run through the NBA. Look at this shit. Listen.
The indictment details specific examples where the defendants profited from illegal gambling and illegal betting on various NBA games, about the performance of players on, among other things, the Charlotte Hornets, the Portland Trail Blazers, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Toronto Rangers.
Who the Rangers?
Each defendant in the NBA basketball gambling case has been charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud.
I think he meant the Toronto Raptors, but that's neither here nor there. They about to run through the NBA. So just like everybody been saying, the NBA rigged? That's what they trying to say? They done came and locked them up for sports betting, money laundering, wire fraud. See what it is them sports betting apps? Y'all be putting your information in, them niggas is getting mad when everybody hitting at the same damn time. Then you got people sitting out. Listen, Terry Rozier ain't even playing the game that he was supposed to play in last night. He didn't play because of coach's decision. Oh yeah? Ain't looking good. They about to start going back further and further. And what was the other guy name that got locked up for sports? Come on, man. Come on, NBA, y'all not looking good. Shit ain't looking good for basketball, man. For real.
This is crazy.
Seekers, man. When all that news came out, bro, it just probably just solidified everybody's thoughts, man, about how some of these games, bro. You saw proof. It's literally how these games are rigged, bro. They be rigging the system for these bets and crap. Like I said, I've been hearing stories about NBA players and they be playing the game. People be like, you missed a shot, you messed up my parlay and stuff like that. But that was just all that information coming out yesterday. I couldn't even believe it, bro. That was just freaking insane, man. Tell me down below, man, if you guys think that the league is rigged, bro. So people can get these bet payouts.
Do you ever wonder why humans grow beards? We have the ability to grow beards, right?
Yeah.
And some people, they don't grow beard or facial hair at all. Asians, yeah, some Asians. And women specifically, they don't really grow facial hair, right?
Okay.
There's actually a scientific purpose for facial hair and beards in general. It's for hand-to-hand combat. Long time ago, all of the warriors would grow beards. So they did a scientific study. They simulated a bald face, a face with a little bit of stubble, and a face with a full-fledged beard. And they tested it, putting pressure the same amount that a punch could. They found out that the bald face, every single time they simulated the punch, it would break the jaw. When using an unshaven face with a full beard, it only broke 45% of the time. So the theory is, if you can grow a beard, you're probably have an ancestry of warriors or fighters. Look at women. Women don't need to fight because historically, it was usually the men that went into combat. If you don't grow facial hair, it might tell you a little bit about your ancestry.
Google's Gemini AI refuses to go against a 47-year-old Atari game console in chess because it fears that it will lose. Google's Gemini initially boasted about crushing the ancient Atari 2600 chess engine, then dramatically backtracked and admitted it had hallucinated those confident statements. The AI that requires trillions of parameters and massive computational resources suddenly realized it would struggle immensely against a gaming system from 1977 with less memory than a calculator. This happened after the same Atari console had already absolutely rinsed ChatGPT in chess, proving that decades-old specialized technology can demolish modern general-purpose AI. Gemini's final response was pathetically honest. Canceling the match is likely the most time-efficient and sensible decision, basically admitting defeat before even playing. This exposes the fundamental gap between AI marketing claims and actual capabilities, where specialized systems built 47 years ago outperform today's most sophisticated language models. The incident reveals how modern AI can display overconfidence about tasks it cannot actually perform, then recognize its limitations and strategically retreat from challenges. When a console older than most people's parents can scare trillion-parameter AI models into submission, what does that say about the current state of artificial intelligence?
So they just gonna continue to play in our face, right? This is why I don't trust certain shit. Everybody wanna call you crazy when you be seeing doubles. They put it right in your face. Which one is the real John Cena? I believe it's this one, but at the same time, I don't know. It could be this one. My point is, if they wanted to, they can switch the real one out for the fake one. So based off this picture right here, would it be too crazy to think that they out here replacing celebrities like we've been saying for the longest time? No. Case in point. This ain't the only picture, y'all. Go look it up. It's a picture with like 7 different people that look exactly like John Cena. And it just goes to show you, the movie They Clone Tyrone is not too far-fetched. Make sure you follow for more shit like this.
Fallen angel statue discovered in Russia.
What?
This is the creepiest thing I've seen in a good minute. There's these dudes, Russian dudes. They work in a gravel quarry or something, and they're just digging, and they found this ginormous statue of this crazy, evil-looking angel with its like hood down, but like its eyes, and it's these giant wingspan things, and it's like holding a shield, and it was kneeling. It's these dudes standing up beside this statue. Their heads didn't even go past the statue's head, and it was kneeling down. And it looks, the detail on it is like exquisite. Like it looks like an angel or man thing.
Oh, wow.
That was like frozen in time, like it like fell in a concrete bath or something. And so what does that mean?
That's like the start of a scary movie. They're gonna go put it in a lab and they're gonna soak it in like acid or something.
That's a scare. No.
Yeah, that's.
Have you heard of the Terracotta Army?
Yeah.
In China?
Yeah.
Dude, that is crazy.
I wanted to talk about that a long time ago.
Dude.
This is awesome. Somebody was able to film Area 51, and it's not crazy blurry, it's not fake. This is real, it's recent, and I find it totally fascinating. There's a bunch of footage, but check some of this out.
Here you can see some radar, and there's one of those F-16s.
Whoa. Is this real?
Super cool to see one of the Groom Lake F-16s up close like this. I think we might have a camo dude. It looks white. Yeah, that's definitely a white pickup. It just came from the gate. Let's see where this truck is going.
This could be fake. That ain't the real Area 51. It can't be,
Looks
right?
like it's some large metal structures, metal shelters or something over there. One lone Janet flight sat on the tarmac. I settled in for the night and watched it take off.
So even though he didn't seem to capture an alien piloting a flying saucer, he did capture some super interesting stuff. And seeing the Janet Airlines was really cool. I personally found watching this footage completely fascinating. He does have a few parts, so definitely go to his profile. Come back and let me know what you think of it.
You guys think that's real, man? Area 51 would be out all in the public like that for somebody to see, that's a secret base, man. If you'll be trying to divert our attention, we paying attention to that base, but the true base, who knows, it probably never been revealed. You know it ain't gonna be revealed to the public.
Biggest coincidences in the world. Before Nick and Amy's wedding, they decided to go through Nick's baby photos. And they specifically looked at this image of Nick playing at a beach on vacation. And Amy noticed herself in the background 11 years before they met. A reporter went on the street in the UK asking people if they remember the final round of the 1967 FA Soccer Cup. And the person he chose to interview ended up being the goalie who played in the game. And look how happy he was.
Do you remember it? I do. I played in it. Did you? I was goalkeeper for Liverpool. Really? Yeah. Well, that's a stroke of luck me meeting you. Yeah. Sorry, can you remind me of your name? Tommy Lawrence.
The two people in this photo look the exact same, but they're not related. The first picture was of Enzo Ferrari. He was a race car driver, and he actually founded the car Ferrari. The other guy was a soccer player named Mesu. But the scariest part is that Enzo died in 1988, which was the same year that Mesu was born.
Man, I ain't know people still ate corn dogs, but 58 million pounds of corn dogs and sausages on the sticks has been recalled due to the wood being in the batter too. Extraneous matter contamination. If y'all got any corn dogs in the crib, check the USDA article on this and see if the dates match, so you won't have extra wood in your mouth choking on sticks. Brands include Jimmy Dean and State Farm, etc. These was packaged through March 17th through September 26th. Hey, look, comment your thoughts on this. Do y'all still eat corn dogs, or do your kids eat it? Like, who is ordering 58 million pounds of this? Let me know. Comment your thoughts right now.
If y'all thought the sky was a backdrop, I need y'all to stop and look again, because the veil is thinning, y'all. There is so much activity going on in the sky right now. The sky is signaling, and it's pulsating, it's flashing. Did anybody see this in Minnesota the other night? Now again, the Bible talks of these times where we will see signs in the sky when there's a major change that's coming upon earth. And look at the sky in Minnesota. Hold on. Y'all thought Minnesota was showing out? Look at what's going on in Delaware. What is happening with the sky? Is God sending us a message of the changes to come? Now, something strange must be going on in Delaware, because my friend looked back and she took out her camera because the sky was purple. And then when she looked up, she saw these things flying up in the sky, y'all. Can y'all see that? Hold on. Let me zoom in and show y'all what this is, and y'all can let me know. Look at this. These things were flying around in the sky. Now, you think that they were stars, but check this out. What is this, y'all? What is this? She said it looked like some type of crustacean. You know how they talk about the waters above and the waters below? Well, we are in the waters below, and this is the waters above. She said it looked like some type of crustacean flying up there or swimming around up there. What is that, y'all? That's not a star. Now back to Minnesota. What is going on here? Look at this. This thing is flashing. It's pulsating. It's glitching. Y'all see that?
Wow, I have never seen anything like this before in my life. It's a red sky. There's a major storm coming in. Wow, I have never seen anything like this.
Look at the flashing, y'all. It's going crazy. It's like the Dragon Ball Z episode that we've all been waiting for.
Wow, look at that.
Look at, what is that the sun? Look at the horizon, y'all.
I'll show you this. Over here, and you can see that there's almost a rainbow in the...
There's that rainbow that be everywhere, that dark banded rainbow that be everywhere. When I get a chance, I'm going to sit down and make videos for you guys about the anomalies that's taking place around the sky. Tell me y'all see this rainbow, right? But what is this? What is this dark spherical object that's cloaked in the sky? You guys can clearly see that. And there's another one up here. Y'all can see that sphere up here. What are those? What are they not telling us? And how convenient for NASA to go dark right now when we have all these sky anomalies taking place, y'all. The sky is signaling great changes to come into our world, y'all. Are you guys ready? Let me know down in the comments below, y'all. I be telling y'all the shit is here. Let's continue to get it. Look at the other side of the rainbow. Look at that. Peace.
These are the world's freakiest sea animals.
Okay.
In July 2022, people in Chile gathered around to see what a fishing boat caught off their shore. The creature was 16 feet long, and the video got 20 million views when it was posted online, because people were debating whether or not this was an actual sea monster. But I'm sad to say it's not. This is an oarfish, a fish that typically lives about 3,000 feet below the surface. Next, at Laguna Beach in May 2021, people were shocked when they saw a terrifying football-looking fish washed up on the shore. This was a Pacific football fish, a fish that usually lives 3,000 feet under the surface. Basically, remember that terrifying light bulb fish from Finding Nemo?
Yep.
That's this guy. They're actually so rare that even marine biologists know very little about this species and what causes them to wash up on shores. And in 2022, a fisherman named Sean Bailey was sailing around off the coast of San Diego when he spotted a weird ghost-looking creature floating on the surface of the water. But after a few minutes, it started moving again because it was just sunbathing. This is a mola mola, or an ocean sunfish. These fish live 660 feet below the ocean surface and prey on jellyfish, and then warm up by sunbathing on top of the surface. And this allows seagulls to eat the parasites off its body. So for them, it's kind of like a free trip to the spa.
These villagers dig up their dead family members every 3 years, and you won't believe why. These people are from a village in Indonesia, and during their Manim festival, they get their ancestors' corpses, clean them, then put them all out to dry, and dress them in new clothes as a ritual. And the reason is because they believe they're showing them love and respect.
This is why you should be scared of mirrors. Reddit user Liberated Man said that when he was about 12 years old, he woke up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. He walked across the hall to the bathroom, hit the lights, and was about to reach for the toilet when he glanced up and saw a face in the mirror. It wasn't his face. He said that it was as if someone was on the other side, standing to the right, with their face right next to the glass, staring at him. He only saw it for the briefest moment, but it seared into his brain. He screamed and ran out to find his dad. His dad, of course, investigated and then calmed him down, or tried to. They had a prayer session because he was so freaked out. Eventually, he went back to sleep. He said that fast forward to his 30s, he had forgotten all about the event until one night, while visiting, his dad quietly brings it up. He said, "Remember that one time you saw a face in the mirror?" It suddenly came back to him in a rush of a memory, sending a chill down his spine. He said, "Yeah, I remember." And then his dad said, "Well, sometimes I think about that night." He looked down at the floor with a serious expression, and then he said, "I saw it too." He went on to describe exactly what Reddit user Liberated Man had seen. Neither of them have any idea what it was. Apparently, when his dad went to investigate, he saw it and had a freak out of his own. And the prayer session was as much for his own nerves as it was his son's.
So they both saw the same thing. So they weren't tripping there. And a Reddit user saw the same thing too, so maybe those two stories are linked. It's a creepy rabbit hole you gotta get into. That's an edit, man. Call them out.
Yeah! Scientists just did something you are not going to appreciate. Trust me, you're going to want to favorite this video because this could be the start of something horrendous. Because they thought today was a brilliant day to cut open 200 million year old parasitic eggs that they found in fossilized feces. You know, dinosaur shit. They found one of the earliest predators were infested with roundworms, otherwise known as nematodes, and other parasites. I feel like I shouldn't need to say this. Don't fucking do that! I swear after 2020 we've learned nothing! And this hasn't come long after scientists revived a previously extinct ancient worm. But don't worry, that's another horror for another day. I'll be the first to say it, I do feel like we're opening Pandora's box. We revive an ancient parasite out of the good of our hearts and then it gets out of control and destroys the world. These are the parasite samples, by the way, if you wanted to see them. They are being called Morphotype 4. Bear in mind, we are nervous about permafrost melting and releasing ancient pathogens and diseases into our worlds. And now we're willingly sawing open dinosaur shit that includes a parasite. I mean, does 1 + 1 = 5? Personally, I'm not a fan of this one, so send this to a friend because they need to know what's going on. I'm terrified. Forbidden places.
Why would we even do that, bro? With all that's going on in the world right now, we think that's a good idea to examine some parasites that probably went extinct a million years ago because it was in dinosaur crap. Now we're trying to reintroduce it. It's just gonna decimate the ecosystem, man. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why?
Is that you can never visit. Snake Island is an island off of the coast of Brazil, filled with deadly snakes. Rising sea levels cause this piece of land to become an island, allowing for the snakes to flourish in their own environment. There are now up to 5 snakes every square meter, and you are not allowed to go here. In Svalbard, Norway, there is a global seed vault, aka the Doomsday Vault. It is the world's seed bank, storing samples of crops from all over the world just in case of a global catastrophe. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang in China holds an army of warriors made of clay. It protects the burial spot of the first emperor of China who died in 210 BC, and we only discovered this tomb in 1974. Paveglia Island in Italy was used to exile hundreds of thousands of victims of the plague. It is said to be one of the most haunted places on Earth, and a dark local legend says that 50% of the soil is made up of human remains. Follow for more.
Don't go there, bro. Most haunted place in the world.
Was this the worst form of medieval punishment? If you found yourself as a prisoner in a medieval castle, you may be subject to the dungeon, torture, or even execution. But what could be worse? Well, let me tell you about the oubliette, also known as the Forgotten Room. This was a specialized type of prison in some medieval castles, perhaps for the worst of offenders. It was a narrow shaft, sometimes 8 feet deep, with only one entrance and exit, a trapdoor located on the ceiling. The shaft being so narrow that the individual would be forced to stand. They couldn't kneel, they couldn't sit, they could barely turn around. To fall alone into the oubliette would sometimes break bones. In some cases, these would even be built into the upper walls of the castle, so the victim could hear the hustle and bustle of castle life, but could not escape. Depending on the situation or individual, they might throw you some food and water if you were to be kept alive. In most cases, you were subject to stand there, starve to death, and then be devoured by vermin. The most you could do was stand there, look up at the grate, and realize you cannot escape. Oh yeah, did I also mention sometimes jagged stones would be placed at the bottom? And of course, you were also subject to stand in your own waste. Lep Castle, which is located in Ireland, had quite an active oubliette. So many skeletons were discovered in one in the 1920s that it took 3 cartloads to transport them off the property. Between the sleep deprivation, the starvation, the psychological torture, and the claustrophobia, I think this is the worst form of medieval torture.
Definitely up there, man. You're just standing. Say can't bend, can't do anything. Up street all that time. That's insane. It's another edit, man. Like I said, if you guys see any edits, call them out too. We learning together.
Facts that I wish I didn't know. When you die, the last thing to go is your hearing. So as all your other mortal sensations are leaving this world, the last thing you're ever going to experience are the sounds going on around you, which very well could be like your family members crying or cheering. By the year 2050, there's going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish. When pigs get a cold, like a cough, very often they will shoot their intestines out of their anus, and farmers have to, like, stuff it back in.
Never knew that. What the hell, pigs?
Fun fact, Michel Lotito, aka Mr. Eats Everything, was a French performance artist who once ate an entire Cessna 150 airplane. Holding the Guinness World Record for strangest diet, Michel first became aware of his strange affliction when he was 9 years old, and the glass he was drinking from broke, and he began chewing on the broken glass fragments and liked them. Throughout the course of his life, he consumed 8 bicycles, 15 supermarket trolleys, 7 TV sets, 6 chandeliers, 2 beds, also a waterbed full of water, a pair of skis, a coffin, 1,600 feet of steel chain, a ton of random stuff like glasses, plates, and razor blades, and of course, a Cessna 150 airplane. He began eating the plane in 1978 and spent 2 years consuming it bite by bite, cutting the plane into edible pieces about 1 to 2 centimeters long until he finally finished his meal in 1980. To protect his stomach and intestines from getting pierced by any sharp objects, Mr. Lotito would consume a ton of mineral oil and water during his meals to help the metal, glass, or whatever else move through his system. Michel Lotito passed away in 2007 at the age of 57 from natural causes.
My man ate a whole plane. If you would have told me that a couple of days ago, I wouldn't have believed you. I'm gonna have to look him up, see what else he ate, bro. Any other world records? He had that broken many, man. Eating
These are the
that
world's
type of
freakiest land
things.
animals.
animals. In 2022, a TikToker named Caustica uploaded a video that showed a weird-looking creature running around his backyard. Once the video went viral, wildlife experts took to the comments to explain that it was a lesser blind mole rat, and this is because of how its tiny eyes are nearly tucked under its skin. They spend most of their time underground creating tunnels with their massive teeth. In 2020 in British Columbia, a woman was walking around when she saw a bug that looked like a tarantula with wings. She then shared a photo of the bug to Facebook, where wildlife experts explained that this was a very big moth called a polyphemus moth. These moths have huge bodies, and despite their scary looks, they don't have mouths to bite, and they have a lifespan of about 2 weeks. And in 2024 in Sydney, Australia, a TikToker named Blonde heard a weird tapping sound coming from her window at night, and she went to investigate. And what she found is like something out of nightmares. At her window, a bat was tapping on the glass, trying to find a way to escape the storm. And it stayed around until the next morning, where Blonde had to call a bat expert to come remove it. But this turned out to be a non-aggressive species of a bat known as a flying fox. And they only eat fruit or flowers. They also struggle to keep warm when they're wet, which explains why it was at her window. Now I just feel sorry for the little guy.
What is the dirtiest country in the world? Well, firstly, the cleanest country in the world is Denmark. It's also labelled the most environmentally friendly. But what country is the dirtiest? In 5th place, it's Pakistan. Pakistan is home to the world's most polluted city, Lahore, and has become a major problem in Pakistan. The air is voted hazardous for breathing, and Pakistan is also voted 3rd highest for public defecation. In 4th place, it's Bangladesh. Bangladesh suffers from pollution also, mostly from vehicles, factory fumes and dust. The air quality in Dhaka, one of the world's most crowded cities, is also labelled as very poor and dangerous. Serious overpopulation in Bangladesh is also a huge factor contributing to this. In 3rd place, it's Vietnam. Vietnam is very polluted due to the transportation system and the excess cars and motorbikes on the road. The water is very polluted due to trash being thrown away and neglected, and a lot of the popular cities can be covered in litter. In 2nd place, it's Myanmar. Myanmar has suffered badly with trash pollution, but most of all, water pollution. Myanmar have a long-lasting problem with dirty water, more than anything. Being a river cleaner is a job, collecting trash such as plastics and cans, then selling it, making up to $10 a day. Finally, in 1st place, it's India. India have suffered really badly from air pollution, trash and hygiene issues. It is #1 in the world for public defecation, and overpopulation has been becoming a concern for India as the country is growing at a very fast rate. Most of the lakes and rivers are poisonous and hazardous, and the pollution in some areas is very severe, making it the most polluted country on Earth. If you enjoy videos like these, please follow our page for more facts.
We learned out here today, Seekers. I didn't know, man. I didn't think India was going to be on that list. Most polluted in the world. We got to do better, man. We got to take care of our planet, bro. We only have on the earth, man, so we got to do our best to take care of it. I wasn't expecting that. Hey, man, that's why I say these facts. I'm learning just like y'all. Edit, man. I think, man, I'm getting better at spotting the edits. Watching these videos every day with you guys.
Can you believe that this was almost the Ghostface mask for Scream? While scouting out locations for the first Scream movie, they stumbled upon a mask in an abandoned house. It was produced by a company named Fun World, and it was called the Peanut-Eyed Ghost. Well, Fun World wanted a little bit too much money for them to use their mask, so they went to the drawing boards. Here are just a few of the concepts that they drew up. Quite different, huh? They were eventually able to come to an agreement, and thus one of the most iconic horror masks of all time was born. This may look like a Wish.com Michael Myers mask, but it's actually from the original movie. 43 years ago, they painted a Captain Kirk mask white, and now we have one of the most iconic horror killers ever. I'm actually impressed with how well it held up over that long. Who is the most realistic psychopath in cinematic history? Starting in 2014, Belgian professor Samuel Leeston wanted to know which movie characters best represented psychotic traits. Over the course of 3 years, him and 10 of his friends watched over 400 movies, spanning from 1915 all the way to 2010, trying to find the best movie psycho. Believe it or not, Norman Bates, Patrick Bateman, and Hannibal Lecter didn't even make the cut. The team believed that their traits did not quite fit the psychopath mold. They all agreed that the best movie psychopath was Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men. They wrote that he seems to be effectively invulnerable and resilient to any form of emotion and humanity, and I 100% must agree. Their runners-up were Hans Beckert in the 1931 German film M, and Henry Lee Lucas in Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Who is your favorite movie psychopath?
These are the safest countries to go if World War III was to start.
That's mind-blowing.
And considering the news at the moment, you might want to sit down, shut up, and listen! So favorite this video, just in case you ever need it. I hope we never do. Now there are countries all around the world, but let's start with Argentina. Now if this was to all break out, it's likely that the world would look similar to Terminator 2 Judgment Day at the end. It's likely that all the smoke from all of these will block out the sun, this resulting very quickly in famine and crop failure. But don't panic, because we have Argentina. In Argentina, there are an abundance of resistant crops, such as wheat. This is one of the places on Earth that actually has a chance of surviving World War III. Next up, we have one of the big ones, Switzerland. Now, aside from the fact that it is incredibly neutral when it comes to politics, it has a landlocked geography and mountainous terrain, as well as being one of the countries with an insane amount of underground bunkers. Actually, there's 26,000 of them, which are actually all very hidden, which will mean you will be very safe. As well, just in case there is an invasion, Switzerland literally has booby traps everywhere. It's actually kind of insane and awesome. Next up, we have one of the big ones, Antarctica. Now, barely anyone thinks about going there, which is why it's pretty safe. However, as you can tell, it's a bit fucking cold, so bring a coat. Next up, we have Greenland. Now, it was in this movie, and they all survived. But on top of that, it's remote, mountainous, and politically neutral, making it kind of an ideal refuge point. And on top of that, worst case scenario, you're not too far away from the global seed vaults, which, you know, has a lot of seeds in it for planting, and thus food and survival. There are literally so many more countries on this list. So if you'd like me to go through more countries in a part 2, let me know. And hopefully we'll never need this video. But just in case we do send this to a friend, it could save their life one day. Elon!
One of the biggest mysteries in history has finally been solved. Alright, firstly, in 1915, explorer Ernest Shackleton and his crew set off for a voyage to explore Antarctica. However, before they could make it to Antarctica, the ship they were on, known as the Endurance, got trapped and crushed by the ice. Now, with no other options left, all of the members on board had to navigate a lifeboat hundreds of miles to safety. In this journey to safety, all of the crew survived many storms, even one being a hurricane, until they got onto a rescue boat. Even though they failed to get to Antarctica, this became a famous story because they didn't let a setback crush their spirit. But for over a century, the biggest mystery was, where did the ship end up? And believe it or not, but in 2022, the ship was actually discovered, and they were so close to where they wanted to be. It was found 2 miles underwater, and because of the frigid temperatures, it was actually pretty well preserved.
I think that's just a sign, man. Like I said, they didn't give up. They didn't stop. They literally couldn't, bro. It was their way of survival, man. They didn't give up. They didn't stop. They didn't let that crush their spirits, and they found their way home. But they was like right there, bro. Goes to show you, man. You can literally be right there. You never know, man. You know that's an edit. Stop playing with us.
A few wholesome history facts to brighten your day. In 1957, Northeast Airlines Flight 823 crashed onto Rikers Island. Prison staff and inmates alike ran to help the survivors. To acknowledge the heroic actions of the 57 inmates who helped, 30 were released and 16 got a reduced sentence. When Anthony Smith was 4 years old, he was fitted with a hearing aid, but soon became depressed and refused to wear it, saying, "Superheroes don't wear hearing aids." His mother, desperate for help, reached out to Marvel. In response, they created the superhero Blue Ear in his likeness. The zip-up cardigans that you would always see Mr. Rogers wear were actually made by his mother. She also knitted them for military troops in Pennsylvania. One of them is now located in the Smithsonian Museum. 3 completely useless yet interesting facts. Have you ever wondered why barns are typically painted red? It has nothing to do with the color itself, but for its usefulness. Long ago, different colored paints and sealers weren't an option for farmers. They needed to make sure they found or made a paint or sealer that would protect the wood on their barn. They would seal their barns with linseed oil. They would add milk, lime, and iron oxide. Rust would kill fungi and mosses and worked as a great sealant. It also turned the mixture red in color. Have you ever wondered why there's cotton inside of some pill bottles? The tradition of doing so started in the early 1900s when Bayer would put cotton in their bottles to prevent breakage of their pills during shipment. And finally, what is the purpose of putting your phone in airplane mode when you're riding on a plane? I mean, there's absolutely no way that could cause a problem while you're on an airplane, but it actually could. You see, airplane mode disables all wireless and cellular signals coming from the phone. Believe it or not, those signals could actually interfere with important...
Let's talk a little bit about what's going on.
Airplane mode is a must on the plane.
A lot of the locals there who believe what they're watching is a serial killer on the streets. Somebody who is roaming the city undetected, and it all ties back to Lady Bird Lake and all of the bodies that continue to appear in that lake under very strange circumstances. So they think that this is connected to the nightlife on Rainy Street. Thought being that a lot of young men, while they're out at bars, are getting profiled at these bars. The suspicion is that their drinks are getting drugged and then they are wandering off on foot. Now, pathway-wise, they eventually make their way to Lady Bird Lake, but somebody is following these men. The suspicion being that they are drowned in the lake and that the bodies are recovered. However, there is somebody who is suspected to be a survivor of an alleged attack. So what he remembered was that he was definitely drugged while he was out at a bar and then was on foot. While on foot, he was then crossing a bridge near Lady Bird Lake where he was pushed off by someone. Whoever that mysterious figure was who did push him off the bridge, it's an unknown. And I would say the bigger question is, why are the Austin PD not investigating this?
They need to, but that's what I say, man. When you out cover your drink, if you walk away, if you have to go to the bathroom and you come back to that drink, might as well just dump it out, get a new drink, man. You don't know what's in it. Learned that very early on, Seekers. It ain't worth it.
This is the case of the girl that vanished into thin air. Her name is Yuki Onishi. On April 29th of 2005, 5-year-old Yuki was out celebrating Greenery Day with her mother. It's a national holiday in Japan, and what they do is they go out, they celebrate nature, and they collect bamboo shoots. So Yuki, her mom, and 60 other people were out doing this. Yuki was so excited that she found her first bamboo shoot, she showed her mother, and then she ran off to find more. That's when she disappeared and was never seen from again. When they realized that she was nowhere to be found, they actually brought in search dogs and the police. This is where it gets really strange. The dogs followed her scent to the middle of the forest and then just stopped. The scent stopped in the middle of the forest as if she had just disappeared into thin air from that spot.
Whoa.
To this day, she has never been found and no one knows what happened. If you want to hear some theories, come back for part 2.
Creepy last words people said right before dying.
Scary.
Registered nurse Shirley Smith said that she had a very rich patient who was a true Satanist that was dying of cancer. The patient had upside-down crosses and a Satan's Bible by her bedside. Shirley said that she will never forget what happened. It was the middle of the summer, and yet it was so cold and dark in her room that you couldn't even stand it, even in the middle of the day. She said that it got so evil feeling in there that she had to call a priest to pray with her and her aides before they would even enter the room. When the patient passed away, she had not spoken in over 24 hours. And then all of a sudden, she sat straight up and said, "Satan, take me." And then she fell back on the bed. Shirley said that after she passed, the room got bright and extremely warm. Shockingly, when they moved the patient's body, they had to get rid of the mattress because where her body had been, it looked burnt. And the most horrible smell was emanating from the mattress cover. Needless to say, Shirley went to confession immediately because she did not want an evil spirit around her. A nurse said that one of their patients had a serious recurrence and had to be admitted. Over the course of several nights, he had become quite upset during rounds. He kept asking for his wallet, saying that he had to pay the ferryman. The medical student on rotation in the department took a quarter out of his pocket and put it in the patient's hand. The patient then dropped the coin into the cup on his bedstand and calmed down. Later that night, he passed away quietly. The nurse asked what happened. The medical student who remembered his Greek mythology said that the patient had to pay Charon, the ferryman, to be taken across the river Styx. A nurse said that he was doing rounds at a hospital. There was one 2-patient room, and one of the patients was a very loud and confused woman who could be quite a handful. On this particular night, she had a roommate who had passed away shortly before the nurse entered the room. She was DNR, so there was no code blue. When he entered the room, he noticed that the elderly lady, who was usually very loud and confused, was sitting quietly with her hands crossed neatly upon her lap. Something was different, and there was this look of serenity on her face. She asked him in a voice that seemed much younger and clearer than before, "Did you see them, young man? They're so beautiful." He said, "No, ma'am, there's no one else here." She said, "They're right next to you, talking to Mrs. Banneker. The angels. They're so beautiful." He said that he instantly felt every hair of his body stand up, and an electric tingle course up and down his spine. "They're not here for me this time," she said sadly.
Seek the truth.
Disturbing brain facts you didn't know about. The brain will protect itself even if it means misery to you or death. Inhaling smoke in the middle of a burning house. Brain will make you stop breathing and pass out. Stuck in the middle of a cold place. You will fall asleep to conserve energy and never wake up again. Had your leg torn off by a bear. Here's adrenaline. So you can save your brain even if there's a huge risk of infection or further injury. You and your brain work together most of the time, but when push comes to shove, you are sacrificed.
Survival of the fittest, even for your brain, bro.
Normal looking photos with a disturbing backstory. This photo might just look like a girl scribbling on a blackboard, but it was actually taken in a school for emotionally disturbed children in Poland. This girl's name is Tereska and she grew up in a concentration camp. But what's even more disturbing about this photo is that the assignment was to draw what home looks like. And while all the other students drew pictures of houses, this is what Tereska drew.
Psychology hacks you need to know. If you ask someone to do a small favor, their subconscious mind will register that they like you because they're doing a favor for you. Showing the palms of your hands while talking to someone subconsciously communicates that you have nothing to hide and you can be trusted. Whenever you are introducing a new idea to someone, if you lead with the words, "This might not be for you, but," it naturally engages the person's interest and makes it feel like it probably is for them.
Really?
If you need to remember to do something tomorrow, just put something in your room out of place. The next day you'll see this item out of place and it will remind you of what you associated it with. If you are procrastinating right now, stop telling yourself that you have loads of work to do. Instead, just tell yourself you only have to work for 5 minutes. You'll most likely continue to work even after 5 minutes. People who are lying normally blink more than usual, hide the palms of their hands, mess with their hair or appearance, and use either abnormally long or short sentences. Follow for more.
Really? Those tales, man, you gotta pay attention to them.
Worst ways people have been unalived. Part 5. The woman who was embalmed alive. This is 28-year-old Ekaterina Fudieva from Russia. She had recently been diagnosed with ovarian cysts and wanted to have them removed, so on March 15th of 2018, she went in for surgery. The very routine operation went just as planned. This is when the fatal mistake comes in. Instead of her being administered a saline drop, she was given formaldehyde. If you don't know, formaldehyde is something morticians typically use to preserve and keep a body as fresh as they can. The staff tried flushing her body with water, but to no avail. The chemical started to attack her body. For over 12 hours, her organs started to fail and shut down. She remained unconscious for 3 weeks, all while being hooked up to machines to try and keep her organs from failing, but she soon passed.
Embalmed alive? That's one of the most craziest things we've heard yet. That might be an edit, man. If you guys see any edits, like I said, call them out.
These are human body parts that may disappear in the future. First up is body hair. Originally, it protected ancient humans from harsh weather conditions. However, over time, with modern clothes and changes in environmental conditions, human body hair has significantly decreased and continues to do so. Many scientists believe it might eventually completely disappear. Next are wisdom teeth. They used to serve an evolutionary purpose for ancient humans who had much rougher diets and needed more chewing power. But our diets have softened and our jaws have become increasingly smaller. As a result, they have no space to properly grow in, and many people need to have them surgically removed.
Yep.
Many babies are now being born without wisdom teeth, and scientists believe this will eventually be the standard. Finally, we have male nipples. Everyone starts as female in the womb, and before the Y chromosome kicks in for males, nipples have already formed. When the baby becomes male, the prolactin levels decrease, making the male nipples non-functional. So while it's debated, some scientists think they'll disappear.
Creepy fact you probably don't know.
Nipples will disappear? What the hell?
At one time, doctors thought that babies didn't feel pain. It took up until 1987 for the American Academy of Pediatrics to declare that it was unethical to operate on babies without anesthesia. So that means for years, babies were forced to just sit there and suffer through surgery without any form of pain control or anesthetics. So yeah, that's kind of scary.
Here's some random
Yes,
facts
it
that
is.
will mess with the way you see the world. Astronaut means star sailor. Astro meaning star and not meaning sailor. That is such a cool name. High heels were originally made for butchers so they wouldn't get blood on the bottom of their shoes. The first ever webcam was created to check on a coffee pot just to make sure it didn't catch on fire. In Switzerland, it's illegal to own just one guinea pig. You need at least 2 or more. I think it's because they get depressed if they're alone. I'm not even joking. Australia is wider than the moon. How does that work? The Eiffel Tower is taller in the summer. This is because metal expands when it gets hot, right? A jiffy is an actual unit of time. It's 1/1000th of a second. In Japan, there's over 200 flavors of Kit Kats. I didn't know that there were 200 flavors, period. Queen Elizabeth was a trained mechanic in the military. That's a baller move, though. Become a mechanic and then a queen. Do you know the only letter that doesn't appear in a U.S. state name? I'll give you 3 seconds. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Q.
The letter Q.
Weird ass facts that I know for some reason. If you're allergic to eating shrimp, then you also can't eat cicadas. Male hedgehogs, pleasure themselves the same way that us guys do. So be careful when you pick one up, because that white stuff on their feet is not mayonnaise. Saddam Hussein actually wrote a romantic novel. Platypuses don't have nipples, so they literally just sweat milk. Ducks will have sex with literally anything. Literally anything. Literally anything. On average, cannibals find palms to be the tastiest. Crocodiles gallop, just like a horse does. The thought of this is really scary, though, not gonna lie.
There is something sinister that's occurred in the heart of
Galloping?
An 8-year-old girl has completely vanished in or near the lake, which, of course, has left her family and loved ones completely devastated. This place is nestled within a remote and desolate swamp. Caddo Lake is shrouded in mystery. It's dark trees, murky waters, and there are countless hidden spots that would make it perfect for somebody to disappear. As the search for Anna continues, there has been a startling discovery. There are secrets buried deep within this eerie lake, far more than I think anybody could have imagined. Now, this chilling premise is the basis for the latest suspense and mystery film, produced by M. Night Shyamalan, premiering on Max Thursday, October 10th. Don't miss the stars Dylan O'Brien and Eliza Scanlon as they unravel the terrifying secrets hidden beneath the surface, only on Max.
Okay, well, wait. Should we check it out, man? See, because like I said, you guys know I'm not into scary movies, but thrillers and things, I'll check those out.
Truths about fears. You are not afraid of the dark.
I ain't.
You are afraid of what may be there.
That actually makes sense. If you really think about it, because I'm just starting to put two and two together. Like I said, obviously I'm not afraid of being in a dark room or something like that, or like I said, being outside when it's really dark. But you just don't, when it's dark, you don't know, you can't see, so you don't know what's actually there. So that actually makes sense. You're scared of the things that could be in the dark, and actually scared of the darkness itself. Well, some people actually could be scared of both, but I think I fall into that category, bro. Expanding my thoughts, Seekers.
The darkest conspiracies in the world. The Mandela effect. A theory that suggests that our current reality has somehow been shifted into an alternate universe. Such evidence includes things like the Berenstain Bears being Berenstain Bears, fruit of the loom, with and without the cornucopia. Even the memory of Mandela dying in prison back in the 1980s versus 2013. Supposedly created by the CIA as a psyops. Are we really in an alternate reality? Hit the plus sign if you think so.
Hit that thumbs up button if you think we're in
We
an
also
alternate
know most
reality.
random animals people have been killed by. In July 2013, a Brazilian man was asleep in bed when a cow fell through his roof right on top of him. The 3,000-pound animal had been grazing when it stepped on a thinly corrugated roof and fell and suplexed the man whose only crime was sleeping on the wrong side of the bed. The man seemed okay and went to the hospital, but then died of internal bleeding before even seeing a doctor. In the water, it isn't the sharks you have to worry about. It's the needlefish, because they'll heat themselves out of the water at 37 miles per hour. Getting vibe checked by a fish fast enough to get a speeding ticket is one creative way to get put in a Twitter bio. One Indonesian woman tragically got pierced right above the eye, and even though she was rushed to the hospital, she flatlined a few hours later. One needlefish managed to stab a 10-year-old boy through the eye and into his brain, killing him almost instantly. Peacocks are low-key ops. A man in Thailand was minding his own business when out of nowhere his pet peacock mauled him, slashing at him with his claws. This velociraptor drag managed to put this man in a coma. By the time he reached the hospital, they discovered there was a small blood clot in his brain. And he never woke up, so next time you see a peacock roaming a zoo unsupervised, just remember what they're capable of.
This horror game changes the appearance of the monsters based on your personality, and it's a Silent Hill game. In Silent Hill Shattered Memories, there is only one monster. It's called Raw Shock, and it can actually change its appearance based on what you do in the game. The game actually pays attention to what your character does and looks at while exploring in the overworld. Yes, you heard that right, what you look at in the game. One example is if you spend a lot of time looking at things like beer bottles, the monster will actually appear to look diseased. Levels are broken up by psychiatric evaluations that also change certain aspects of the game. These can lock you into certain playstyles that affect both the ending and the way the monsters look. It's one of the most underrated horror games I have ever played, and maybe one day we'll do a video talking about the ending.
Silent Hill, they just made the Silent Hill 2 remake just came out. Man, to the
Movies that are
games,
even more
bro.
disturbing than Human Centipede. Just when you thought you've seen it all, I'm here to bring you the worst of the worst. We're gonna go from the least to the most disturbing.
Okay.
So in third place, we have The Sadness. This is a Taiwanese horror movie about a virus that makes people act out their darkest thoughts. So imagine the most twisted things you could ever think of, then imagine if you couldn't control yourself and needed to act on them. This movie gets very dark very quickly. In second place, we have Serbian Film. Yes, that means there's one more movie that I think is even more disturbing than Serbian Film, but just wait for it. Serbian Film is about a kind of actor who gets tricked into performing very intense things. Just to give you an idea of how disturbing this movie gets, it's in over 40 countries. And in first place, this is the most disturbing movie I've ever watched in my life. Trauma is a 2017 Chilean horror movie. The first 5 minutes of this movie is more disturbing than all three of the Human Centipede movies combined. And basically, it's about the son of and it shows how his father prepares him for that job. Then there's a time jump and we see a group of women on vacation and they run into him. If you like disturbing movies, then follow for more.
These are the
checking those
scariest
out.
planets ever found, part 3.
Up first is 51 Pegasi b. This planet is mainly made up of hydrogen and helium,
And the temperature on this planet is over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
This planet is so hot that the iron on this planet gets vaporized
and then forms iron vapor clouds.
These clouds will then produce molten iron rain, which just sounds completely brutal. Next up is Korat XL 3b. The degree of pressure put on a human being walking on this planet
would be completely insane.
A human on this planet would weigh almost 50 times heavier than they would on Earth.
That means that a 180-pound man on this planet would weigh more than 9,000 pounds.
The amount of stress would crush a human being's skeletal system instantly.
And yeah, they keep talking about how they want us to expand to different planets. That's proof right there, bro. We don't know what we getting ourselves into. We getting freaking iron rain. Your skull, freaking system's gonna get crushed instantly. I vote we stay here on Earth. What do you guys say?
The world's most dangerous conspiracy theories. This picture represents conspiracy theories from the most well-known to the darkest. Some of these theories say once you learn the truth, there's no return. For this series, we're going to be picking some from each category until we reach tier 10, the point of no return. Tier 10 is so scary that people are saying I'm literally going to die before I even reach tier 10. So make sure to follow to see the journey. Okay, so tier 3. This is the point of no return. Today we're going to be talking about the Denver Airport. The Denver International Airport is located in Denver, Colorado. Before we get to the conspiracies, let's go over the facts. During the process of building this airport, they apparently went over budget by $2 billion. And supposedly even more than that. They were also 16 months behind schedule. So now we're going to talk about some of the theories on why they went over a budget of $2 billion and why it took so long to build this airport. One of the most popular theories theories is that it's an underground facility for the global elite. There's a lot of facts to back this one up, but a construction worker claimed that the reason the delay was so long is because they were moving 5 buildings downstairs. And by downstairs, I mean in this underground tunnel. The second theory is the Mustang statue. This statue is a blue horse on its heels right in the center of the airport. Later, it was given the nickname Lucifer. The reason they call it Lucifer is because of the 4th horseman in the apocalypse in the book of Revelations. And the 4th horseman represents death. A lot of people have taken videos of this horse, and you can literally see red eyes, even though there's no LED lights inside of them. The crazy thing is, the sculptor who built the statue actually was killed by it. The statue fell down, crushing him and splitting one of his arteries, killing him instantly. So maybe the reason for the delay was to hide something sinister. The final theory that most people believe is this is a foundation for the Freemasons. The Freemasons have some of the most powerful people in the world, which leads people to speculate that this is a headquarters for the Illuminati. There is even a statue that says March 19th, 1994, and those numbers equal the number 33, which is the highest level of Freemasonry. And under the date, the commission name is New World, hinting to the New World Order. The New World Order is thought to be a small group of people controlling the entire world under one government, creating total power and total wealth. So, do you think this airport accidentally spent over $2 billion, or were they hiding a much darker secret? Make sure to like and follow because we have a lot more to learn. Also, my YouTube channel is Austin Vro. Tomorrow I'm going to be posting a full version of Tier 4, so that way you guys can watch the entire thing.
Time travel tips, part 3.
Discuss it down below.
Southampton in 1912, and make sure you bring a cloth and a bottle of chloroform. Take 1 month of Morse code classes. Purchase a ticket to cross the Atlantic on the RMS Titanic. At 8:30 p.m. on April 14th, walk into the radio room and sneak up behind the operator. Quickly cover his face with the chloroform cloth, knocking him out. Carefully hide his body, and then send out a distress signal. At 11:40, you'll hear a horrible screeching noise. As the ship begins to fill with water at midnight, the RMS Carpathia will arrive, saving everyone on board before Titanic goes under.
Okay. I'll follow all those damn steps. That's an edit. Call them out, man. Like I said, if you guys see any edits, call them out because I might miss some too.
Dark web videos you were never supposed to see, part 1. The first video we're watching is going to be the Glesgord video. The full video was actually only 2 minutes long, but YouTube removed it after only 153 people watched it. The 153 people who viewed this video apparently gouged their eyes out and sent it to the YouTube headquarters. The video itself was only viewed by one YouTube staff member who apparently passed out during the first 45 seconds of the video. The person who uploaded the video was never found and there was never an IP address to find them. The crazy part about this video is that 50% of people see that he smiles and the other 50% say he keeps a straight face. So you guys are going to decide.
Shaved face was just smiling. I definitely saw something in the eyes.
It didn't happen in part 2. Airport security is non-existent. You simply show up and walk to the gate. The U.S. government has invested in a universal healthcare system instead of the Iraq War. Pete Davidson works with his dad as a firefighter in New York City.
These are some unsettling facts that you likely never knew about. Part 4. Most laughing tracks that you hear in movies and TV shows were recorded back in the 50s. So, you're essentially listening to dead people laughing. If the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs had hit 30 seconds later, dinosaurs would still be alive, which likely means that we wouldn't. Studies show that you're 7 times more likely to die by killing yourself rather than somebody killing you. Like and follow for part 5.
On October 30th, 2022, police received a phone call from a woman claiming that her ex-boyfriend was in her family's home and he shouldn't be there due to the fact that she had filed a restraining order against him a week prior. While on the phone with police, dispatchers then heard shots ring out and 4 people were killed by Joseph Castorina. Thankfully, his ex-girlfriend and her 2 children survived, but unfortunately 3 of her family members, as well as 1 man who rented an RV on their property, passed away. Despite fleeing the country, he was found in December 2022, and as of recently, the now 22-year-old was charged with 4 life in prison sentences. What are your thoughts?
So about
it's just an evil case.
3 little girls were murdered in a
dance class by a teenager, and 10 others were injured. Of course, that teenager was arrested, but official sources never identified who this guy is exactly. There were several protests and riots in the UK across several cities in the country, and there was a mosque that was destroyed and burned down as a form of revenge because of what happened in Southport. About 1 day later, after this incident, the government, the media, and the police have officially identified who the killer is. He's a teenager named Axel Udakubana from Rwanda. That is a Christian, not a Muslim, a Christian. Are you gonna burn down a church now that you know he's a Christian? Is that the natural response we as people should have? Official sources confirmed who's the person behind this misinformation. And let me tell you, this is how dangerous misinformation can be.
It can be.
It can lead you to do the wrong things. The person behind this misinformation is Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson is an anti-Islam activist. Most of the biggest platform he has is on X, Twitter. That was where he tweeted that this guy, the murderer, was a Muslim. And you know, because of his contribution to the misinformation, these riots happened. And innocent people were injured. And a mosque was burned down. I'm not sure if it was one or more than one. To be honest, I don't even know the guy. I just heard of him today. And from an official news site that said Tommy Robinson was the main contributor to the misinformation that led to these riots. People are so gullible in this thing. Really. Like, I mean this with no offense, but you guys are. And it's really bad.
It's power behind words, man. That's why you have to be careful what you say. Like you said, misinformation, it can be a dangerous thing, man. You never know what your words can lead to.
I remember this one story he told
Just for a
about this
damn
guy
party.
who has this kid, and he's saying that he sees his wife, but she's actually dead.
She's a jinn.
She's a jinn, yeah.
Yeah.
She's a jinn. So
The story happened in Pakistan.
yeah.
Yeah, some guy married a jinn, yeah.
That's the
This story's messed up. Actually, you might have seen videos on TikTok about this because it was blowing up in Yemen and in some parts of the Arab world. You know, in Yemen there are Houthis. Well, in one of the Houthi bases, one of the Houthi soldiers went out, saw somebody he didn't know. Hey, who are you? He looks at him and runs away. He shoots him. Person dies. He goes, checks the body, person's dead. Goes back to report it to the general or whoever. And I killed the person, I don't know who he is. They go back, the body's not there.
What?
Where's the body? I don't know. No blood, no nothing. I said nothing happened.
Chills. Oh my god. Okay.
He killed the jinn. He killed the jinn. He killed the jinn, bro. The next day, same night, a whole court system of jinns possessed this man. There was a judge, jinn world, judge, prosecutor, and the victim's father, the jinn, the father of the jinn that died, all talking using the guy's voice, and he was obviously having a lot of seizures in between, saying that, by the way, they were Muslim jinns, so they don't immediately attack. There is a system, there is a law in place, they follow the same Quran, you know? They didn't kill that soldier, but they let him off the hook with a punishment. So either they had to take somebody from his family, life, or they kill him, because that's what the father said. He said, let me kill this man, he killed my son, let me kill him. But the judge refused, and there was something he had to pay as a diya.
What?
And I don't know what it was and how it worked out, but the guy suffered a lot, man.
He killed the jinn. So he killed the jinn. The jinn was the human being?
Yeah, he shapeshifted. Jinns can shapeshift. They're not perfect human being form, but they can shapeshift enough for you to look at them and think they're humans.
So he killed the jinn.
Killed the jinn. And you know, sometimes they say, when you see a lizard, sometimes they say part of the sunnah is to kill it, right? Because it could be a jinn. And if you take the lizard's life and it was a jinn, the actual jinn dies. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes they were good that they thought it. It's not gonna come after my family. It can't. That's why there was another story in Qatar of a guy that shot a black cat. It turned out to be a jinn.
Oh yeah, I heard that. I heard that a lot before. They say if you see a black cat, be cautious. You know, it might be jinn.
It might be. Yeah. Then they went and they say, hey, you tried to kill one of our people. Be careful. You do that one more time, we'll bury your head in another continent and your body in Antarctica. Like we will separate you in half. Like literally. Damn. Well, they can't do that.
Prove we live in a matrix. So we have two mysterious women coming up to these people's front door. Watch.
Okay.
It is freaking creepy. 8:41. Somebody knocks on the door, and then hold on. Check out their outfits. They're wearing two different dresses from what they were wearing. It's nothing compared to what they were wearing. And we saw them. They had polka dots. They had the dresses from the
Those are two different dresses.
We literally just saw them, and they were wearing. And like, go fast forward, like it changes color.
There's no way.
Right as soon as they get over there on our porch. What the heck is this?
Whoa.
Is this at 8:41? Look, they said they were a missionary, you know, but missionaries don't come at 9 p.m.
This has got to be a
I asked them, you know, that it's late, and they left, and they said, "I'm sorry, not trying to be rude."
When was the last time you saw 50 Cent? Why do I ask? Because there's a viral photo of him going around that has left his fans in total shock. Why? Because he shaved off his signature beard. But that's not the only thing. Fans are now saying he is unrecognizable and has aged significantly. As a matter of fact, take a look at this. Who is that? Fans would like to know. As you can see, the beard is gone, and he does look significantly older. This is a photo of 50 Cent just a month ago, August of 2025. How do you age that quickly? I mean, if you Google how old Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent is, he is 50 years old, but fans are still claiming that that's not him. Other photos of 50 Cent show him significantly aging. But the question his fans continue to ask is, how do you go from this in August of 2025 to this just a couple of days ago, September 2025? So I guess my question to you is, has Hollywood claimed another celebrity, aka rapper? Or is there something else going on with 50 Cent? Should we be concerned? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
In case you did, I think that was going on with him. Isn't he getting prepared for like a role? I heard he's in the new Street Fighter movie, so you know these actors, they gotta prepare for the role. I think that's why he cut off his beard as well. So they be going through these freaking physical transformations. Him and The Rock is just like 50 Cent and The Rock back to back. They just don't have their signature looks, but it's, I guess, for the upcoming roles. Or I could be wrong. Who knows?
No, we have some crazy things happening in the world right now. Illinois became the first state to ban AI therapists. Honestly, I think that's a pretty good idea because, yeah, that's getting out of hand. A family's ash spreading ceremony was derailed by a Spotify ad for stuffed poop toys. It was during a Frank Sinatra song that they were playing while doing this.
This is the quickest way to clear out stuffed poop. The #1 food for regular beans.
A 58-year-old grandmother from Canada currently holds the Guinness World Record for the longest abdominal plank by a woman, holding it for 4 hours and 30 minutes. I could probably do it for about 30 seconds and then I'm done, so bravo. What's your secret? Abby and Brittany, who are two well-known conjoined twins, had to pay 2 separate college tuition fees, but now earn only 1 salary at their job. A Mexican church made millions of dollars after announcing they were selling land in heaven for $100 per square meter. The pastor in charge said that he had permission from God, and they're even accepting Apple Pay. Wow, how convenient. Because all of that makes so much sense. A high school in the UK delayed its start time from 8:50 a.m. to 10 a.m. and this led to over 50% fewer illness-related absences and a 12% rise in exam success over a 4-year period. I feel like I would have done so much better in school if school started at 10 a.m. Maybe all of life should just start at 10 a.m. every day. I think that'd make things easier. Kind of makes sense, especially since teenagers usually need more sleep than adults. Would you want your school to do that? Or would you, I'm curious even like from a parent's point of view, since I'm a parent now, like would you want your kids to have that? I think it'd be good for my kids.
What the fuck is the government gearing us up for, y'all? They just released this video of a UFO. They said this joint just took one of our best missiles and it just kept flying. This is the orb right here, y'all. And the missile that the military shot at this joint is designed to tear through tanks and bunkers. Y'all, watch this shit. Boom.
Still going.
And that joint bounced off and kept moving like Marshawn Lynch. All I know, y'all, is that shit is not man-made. So what I'm trying to understand is, what kind of fucking technology can just get hit with a missile and keep moving? That shit don't make y'all mind like, what the fuck is really going on? Let's just say hypothetically that this is some sort of outside being. If that joint is able to take out one of our best missiles, what you think they gonna do if they come here on some bullshit? Nigga, we all might be fucked. My question is, why is this footage just coming out now? They had this shit for a while. Are we finna see something we're not supposed to see? Like, are they preparing us?
Could be.
Because like I said, if they've been sitting on this for a while, what is making them disclose this shit? We've been asking these questions. So why now all of a sudden they like, here, the pressure's too much, we're just gonna let y'all see what's going on. I'm not no fool. Does this have something to do with that AI Atlas shit that's supposedly supposed to fly past Earth and supposed to have like little mini probes or some shit? Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments.
Chernobyl, your skin will fall off, your teeth will fall out, and your organs, they will fail. In 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you just how bad the Chernobyl disaster really was.
It's now clear that the Soviet Union has suffered one of the worst disasters in the history of nuclear power.
It will not be safe to stand in Reactor 4 for 20,000 years. That is how long the radioactive fuel will remain dangerously hot. The explosion left graphite on the roof. Standing next to this graphite for just 2 minutes would mean your organs would fail within days. The poor firefighters, they were sent in with zero protection. They moved radioactive debris with their bare hands. Many died within weeks, essentially being cooked from the inside. The elephant's foot is the most dangerous object on Earth. This radioactive lava would kill a person if they stood next to it for just 30 seconds. The radiation released from Chernobyl was 400 times worse than Hiroshima, and the red forest is still glowing hot with dangerous radiation. It's pretty safe to say that Chernobyl remains one of the most dangerous places on Earth.
Midnight Connection.
Don't go there, bro.
One of the world's most sacred locations is now being turned into a luxury tourist resort, and people are pissed. So you know in the Bible when Moses goes up the mountain and gets given the 10 Commandments? Yeah, well that's here, Mount Sinai. And not only do its grounds hold significance for Jews, Christians, and Muslims, but it's also home to the world's oldest continuously inhabited Christian monastery, built nearly 1,500 years ago. However, all of this came under threat in 2021 after the Egyptian government launched a giant tourism project called the Great Transfiguration. Now they said that they would be constructing on these sacred grounds of Mount Sinai luxury hotels, roads, shopping malls, theaters, new residential neighborhoods. They'll be expanding a nearby airport and even putting a Peace Square right in the middle of this holy site. It'll boost the economy, attract millions of tourists, and even become a spiritual hub to promote interfaith unity. But others like UNESCO, World Heritage Watch, and even religious leaders argue that this is pure propaganda, saying that this project is wrecking the sacred landscape. They claim vibrations from construction destruction threaten the monastery's ancient walls, new roads and hotels are erasing traditional architecture, and there's even a local tribe known as the Guardians of St. Catherine, who have protected the monastery for centuries that have now had their homes and tourist eco-camps demolished with little or no compensation. In fact, they've even been forced to take bodies out of their local graves to make way for a new car park. As of right now, the project is steamrolling ahead, but the question is, will this resort truly be a gift to the world, or will it do irreversible damage?
These two interviews from the documentary were taken years apart. So when she's in the pink and she's like, I loved my mom more than anything, and everyone's like, what is wrong with her? She is so blind. This was taken years ago. And then when she walks into frame in the gray hoodie and all the interviews in the gray hoodie were done, that was the most recent version of Lauren that we have. And I also think the fact that she decided to go to college for criminology is so interesting and very telling about where she now stands with the whole situation. And it's like, why wouldn't they disclose this? Why would they just like make us think that these are the same timeline? Because like this documentary is for entertainment purposes at the end of the day. Yes, it's true crime. Yes, this stuff really happened, but they just want to piece together the most entertaining version of the story that they can give us. She's like 18 now. And if you were to watch the documentary with that in mind, it's so clear. So when she's like, I just love my mom and I just want everything to be okay, that's because she's still processing everything going on. And I mean, she literally says while she's in the gray hoodie, I don't want to see my mom while she's in prison. I want to see my mom when the time is right. And she can even admit that it would be really hard to see her, but she would feel more relieved. Like she has a much more clear mindset in these interviews. In this interview, in the younger version of her, she is trauma bonded to her mother. Her mother traumatized her, but at the same time, all she wants is her mom. Here, she's a little more older, she's more mature, she kind of has more clarity on the situation. Let me know what you thought about it and follow for more true crime.
You guys, that case is still freaking crazy hearing that to this day. I didn't even know there was two timelines, man, until I saw this clip right now. Yo, mom.
Hear about that interstellar object coming into orbit. Yeah. The lights that you're seeing is caused by different exposures. So each dot represents its speed and rotation. So it's outside of our solar system right now. It's entering our solar system, but it's moving retrograde. They've observed it accelerating and slowing down. It's named 3I Atlas, 7 miles in diameter. So it's bigger than Mount Everest, making it the largest interstellar object ever spotted. It's traveling at 130,000 miles per hour. This is what's also super weird, that it's almost like it's directing itself to where it's going to use the gravitational pull of Mars, and I think Venus, to basically slingshot itself around the sun. October 29th, it's basically going to go dark behind the sun, and they don't know what's going to happen or what path it's going to take when it exits rotation around the sun. Like, it could be headed straight towards Earth.
Dude, what if it just comes around the corner of the sun? It's just like 3 times bigger.
Dude from Harvard and colleagues have proposed that 3I Atlas could be intelligent alien technology, citing its unusual orbit alignment with Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. So they're saying that thing's crazy.
Where in the Flying Dutchman are you finding crickets this big? And what's the first thing that you think about doing when you catch something this magnificent? Is deep frying it in motor oil. Like, you realize just called Cricket Tune from Pokemon, and the first thing that comes to your head is delicious? And wherever that you acquired this behemoth of a bug, please give us the coordinations so we can drop a nuke on them. My mental capacity couldn't have dinosaur crickets flying outside. And I'm thinking it's fake until bro took a succulent munch out of this cricket back. We cannot have these Jurassic Park insects infect the world. And the craziest part is this is not the first time that I came across one of these devastations on the internet. I feel like the only weapon that's gonna be able to take them out is grenade launcher ammo that's been marinated inside of Raid. But I'm curious on y'all thoughts on these big ass bugs that they keep on finding in this mysterious location in the comments. Like or follow for more wisdom and stay tuned. And if you want to learn how to grow your online business using WAP, comment down below ATM and I'm sending it in your DMs.
Bro, we got giant crickets, giant stick bugs, man. They keep finding these new insect species, bro. My question is, how they stay hidden from us for so long, man? And we have technology this advanced, we still discovering new species? That's scary, bro. Something else out there, man. We just don't know it yet.
Carlos said AI will finally start a purge. It's already happening in the Philippines. They're gonna flood 911 with all of these AI calls. 911's not gonna know what call to react to. and then they're gonna go do their crime. It's be like Purge. I was supported in the Philippines. Shout out for you telling me. They said it's already happening in the Philippines. What they do? He sent me an article, right, on GMA News, and you know, GMA News is pretty big still. And look, it says just a false alarm. Firefighters responded to a Barangay 20 Manila and thing. This was prompted by an online post showing a truck allegedly on fire. However, firefighters arrived. It was discovered that the truck was not actually burning. Authorities are calling those responsible for spreading false info. So imagine, yo, if you want the cops and all the firefighters out of the area, what do you do? They did it. Yes, man. AI, a firefighter burning. All of the people were there. Oh shit! There was probably something happening on the other side. Yeah, they're robbing a bank or something. Yes. Yo, that's crazy. It's happening. I'm telling you, bro. It's just a matter of time. Yeah. There's gonna be a huge heist.
Major warning: if you use
Very scary.
ChatGPT or any AI, you need to see this video right now. AI is great, but it's also very scary. It can be used for good, but definitely be used for bad at the same time. However, it's also very notorious for giving wrong information, which of course it's not going to know absolutely everything, right? But you see, this is where the problem starts, so stick with me. It is extremely smart, but so are hackers who are able to manipulate data and get into these systems. It is pretty hard for them to get into a beast like ChatGPT, so you're probably mostly safe. However, they are finding ways to get into some of these systems and change data within. Sometimes not even fully having to hack into the system, but by just changing the data because of what I said at the start. Sometimes, a lot of the time, it is wrong, so you feed it some more information and it will then think that's right. So recently, some of these people have manipulated the system by saying this is correct, or giving them a link to a virus and saying make sure people know this is safe. So when people ask the system, oh, I shouldn't click on this link, should I? Or is this a legit text message that I got? It might then say yes it is, you click on it and then you get hacked. There is also other sites popping up with the same look, exact same name, basically copycats, which these people have managed to set up to trick people. So just make sure you double check the IP when you're going to a website. Don't click dodgy links and share this video.
This created a chip that can transfer 100 million books in under 7 minutes with just a spark. And the timing is critical because AI tools like ChatGPT are consuming so much energy that data centers now use 2% of global electricity, comparable to the entire airline industry's carbon footprint. By using light photons instead of electrons, this photonic chip bypasses the fundamental speed and energy limits that electronic processors are hitting, enabling AI systems that were previously impossible to power. Companies like NVIDIA are already using the microring modulators that make this technology work, suggesting commercial adoption could happen rapidly and transform computing infrastructure. This chip could enable AI assistants that process vastly more information in real time, make advanced technology more affordable, and dramatically shrink the environmental impact. The breakthrough represents a fundamental shift from electronic to photonic computing that scientists have theorized for decades but couldn't implement practically until now. Countries and companies that master this light-based computing technology will dominate the global economy as AI becomes the foundation of every industry. Will photonic chips finally make unlimited AI power sustainable, or are we just replacing one technological bottleneck with another?
We have a massive update on the body that was found decomposing in David's car. And after what we just found out, this is not going to end well for David. So for context, yesterday a decomposed body was found in the front trunk of a Tesla, which was sitting in a tow lot for about 6 to 7 days, and the car belonged to this guy and his name is David, where somebody noticed that the car was emitting a stinky fishy coochie smell. But this is where it gets even more worser. David is a musician that is on tour right now where he sings the song In the Back of My Mind. Now people are saying that David was set up, as David has been on tour for the past few weeks, and although right now it is looking that David is innocent as he is cooperating with police, as well as he has not canceled any of his future tour dates, but this is where it gets even more insaner. And they found the body in the Tesla. The body was found wrapped in a bag, and that the body is chopped and decomposed so bad that as of now they literally cannot identify who it is. And even more worser for David, Teslas quite literally have cameras throughout the entire car, including the front trunk. David's response so far has been to not cancel his shows. This is all alleged. Do you think David really did it?
Then and I heard the reason why I know Dave is because he made that song with Jason Wayne, popular streamer. And I just saw a couple of days ago some brands dropped him. That's scary, man. Like I said, but there's Teslas, there's cameras all over the Tesla, so you should know who did it, I guess.
The fuck on. Oh, I actually totally forgot about that announcement that was coming through to everybody's phones in the UK today, and it was a test. Test in case there is a disaster. A warning.
I'm mid-driving, my phone goes into full-blown panic mode.
sending all these alarms off, then I realised what had happened. But you know what else I realised? For 5 minutes, I had no phone service. I had no signal. I couldn't do anything. Now, I don't trust the government at the best of times, and I hate to be the conspiracy theorist here, but I'm going to anyway. Is this something more? Is this them showing us that they have the power to black us out? I don't know, you know. Do we in the UK really need these warning messages for a disaster? How long have you lived in the UK and how many times have you experienced a crazy tornado or an earthquake or something like that? Am I stupid for not turning off the alert? Yes, partly because I forgot. Will I be turning it off in the future? Yes. But I do believe that there is something more to this.
Y'all,
no service. Weird.
This right here is a depiction of what's currently going on in the Pacific Ring of Fire. Shout out to World Signs on YouTube. You guys should give him a follow because he literally be posting some good stuff that's currently taking place around the world that not too many people are speaking of. All right, great YouTube channel. But this is exactly what's happening in the Pacific Ring of Fire right now, y'all. This thing looks like it's getting ready to unlock a final boss, a final level boss. Everything is on fire over there. If it's not on fire, it's erupting and it's just it's brewing. Something is coming from under there. Now you guys don't have to believe me on this one, but I truly believe this has to do with, you know, Godzilla and all this type of thing. This is the reason why a whole bunch of people were getting banned off of TikTok last year when they were talking about the, you know what I'm saying, right? And then again, it's Japan that's over there. And what is Japan known for? They're known for Godzilla. So is something brewing out of there, y'all? Is there about to be a big lizard coming out of there? And with the concern that potentially Japan could get hit with a catastrophic earthquake or tsunami, people have been evacuating Japan. Even the tourism industry, beginning at the end of May, June, July has been completely dead in Japan. Even in the summertime, Japan gets unbearably hot. That's the reason why they have the umbrellas. They say even around that time, Japan is popping. But right now, it's different. It's a ghost town in Tokyo. So yes, y'all, what do you guys think, man? The shift is here, man. Something is shifting underneath Tokyo.
Just like there are earthquakes in Japan, so that anyone visiting Japan has to accept some minor risk that a big earthquake could happen anytime, including while they're here. Do you come to Japan as a tourist or not? People have to make up their own.
We're gonna keep an eye on this over here. We're gonna keep an eye on this, y'all. But let me know down in the comments. Y'all see these faces? Can y'all see faces? I see faces. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below, y'all. The shift is here. Y'all see it. Let's get it. Peace in.
Did y'all see the faces? Got a zombie leg, bro. What the hell is that?
Like fish for absolutely no reason, there may be an electric fire. If someone tries to kidnap you, scratch your attacker because now their DNA will be in your fingernails. If you ever find yourself buried in an avalanche, just spit. Your spit will follow gravity and you could dig the opposite direction. Wake up in the middle of the night to the smell of gas, do not turn your light switch on, it could blow up your whole house. If you accidentally disturb a beehive, do not go underwater, they will just wait for you and sting you more. Run as far away as possible and they will eventually tire out. The more colorful and vivid the animal, the more likely it's poisonous. Your pupil reflects white, like right here, you need to go see a doctor. Something's wrong with your eye. If a tornado looks like it's not moving, it's because it's moving towards you. Follow for more life-saving facts.
These are the most bone-chilling photos on the internet, part 1. This is a picture of a shell-shocked soldier in World War I. This photo is just super chilling, and it really makes you understand how horrible and scary a war is on a soldier. This photo is super sad and chilling. It shows the shadowy imprints of a little girl jumping right before the atomic bomb got dropped on Hiroshima. This little girl was just enjoying her day without a worry in the world, and then suddenly it's just all gone. This photo right here is super creepy. It looks like some sort of torture method, but actually it's a beauty procedure in the 1930s and 40s. I don't know what's more creepy, the fact that they actually did this to people, or just how weird and chilling it actually looks.
I don't know what that was.
Most heavily protected places on the planet, part 10. The DMZ Korea, which is the border that separates North and South Korea. The area is fortified on both sides by barbed wire, razor wire, and electric fences. Tens of thousands of landmines are placed everywhere. The area is patrolled with hundreds of thousands of soldiers equipped with tanks. In addition, there are watchtowers and positioning posts placed every few miles equipped with surveillance systems. In the absence of human contact, has actually created a nature reserve for endangered species.
Really?
You are the only person alive on Earth right now. It's called the egg theory, and what I'm about to tell you will blow your mind. So the theory goes that you are actually the only person alive right now. The only consciousness that actually exists. Everyone else is just a figment of your imagination. Your family, friends, strangers you meet on the street, all because your mind doesn't want to feel alone. But this is the scary part about this theory. Since you are the only true consciousness, you'll live every possible life there is and ever will be. So you'll be reincarnated and reborn billions and billions of times until you lived every single individual's life. And then you'll be able to hatch this egg and become a god. That's the theory. You see, the theory goes that the entire universe was created as an egg for the main character, which is you. And once you have lived every human life ever, you will be born as a god. The reason God created the universe was for the main character to understand this point. Every time you victimize someone, you were victimizing yourself. So be kind to people, and you're being kind to yourself. And no lie, it sounds horrible, but you wouldn't know if you lived billions of lives already. You probably already lived over a billion, and you just don't remember it. You probably lived your mom's life, your cousin, the stranger across the street, the blind man you walked past sitting on a bench today. So in actuality, you're me, and I'm you. You're the person in the hospital right now with an unknown disease, or the lady at the store right now buying apples. So every single person you know and ever will know was you.
You guys believe in that theory, Seekers? The egg theory. Sounds like a deep rabbit hole to go down. Reincarnation?
Bizarre facts that'll blow your mind. A bolt of lightning can reach up to 53,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. Researchers found by flossing your teeth, you're actually helping to improve your memory. Jack Daniel, the inventor of Jack Daniel's whiskey, died from kicking a safe with his foot. This caused his toe to break, which ended up getting infected, which ultimately led to his death. And finally, Dwayne Johnson holds the world record for the most selfies taken in 3 minutes with 105.
Really?
Here are the strangest things that were found in the middle of nowhere. Back in 2014, 2 German friends were walking through a forest that they used to play in as kids, when suddenly they noticed 2 pipes sticking out of the ground. They continued to walk until they stumbled upon a hidden doorway that went underground. They entered the creepy corridors until they stumbled into a room that was flooded and had a weird-looking machine. That's when they realized they were in an abandoned control bunker that was used by the Soviets during the Cold War. Next, in 2016, a group was flying in a helicopter over the forests of West Russia, and they spotted another helicopter that was abandoned in a swamp. This turned out to be an Mi-6 model that originated in 1956, and it was the largest and fastest helicopter at the time. It was revealed that the helicopter had been there since 1981, when it traveled from Moscow and it crashed because of engine failure. But thankfully, the crew of it did live to tell the tale. And finally, on Route 90 in Texas, you can find a Prada store that's surrounded by nothing but desert. This was actually art that was made back in 2005 and cost $120,000 to make. Inside the store, there's even real products from their 2005 Prada collection. But unfortunately, the doors aren't real, so you can't actually buy them.
Your son went missing at a carnival, but your story keeps changing. This is one of the most twisty-turny cases I've ever covered on the pod. So picture the scene. It's 1991 in New Jersey at a carnival, and a 5-year-old boy just totally vanishes. He's just suddenly gone without a trace. It's so disturbing. Everybody's super suspicious of the mum right off the bat because it feels like her story doesn't make sense, and she is getting absolutely hounded by the press and by the public. And she ends up saying publicly, "Do not judge me for the fact that I'm not going on TV crying. That's just not the way that I deal with things." Months and months go on with absolutely no sign of this little boy, and the mum actually ends up moving house because of how much she's hounded at her current property. Some people are suspicious of the dad. Some people are like, well, did the dad have something to do with it? And so the police look into him too. Then, heartbreakingly, we find a body in this case, and then a random, mysterious, exotic dancer enters the mix that was apparently at this carnival. But before the police can work out what the hell this exotic dancer has got to do with anything, there's another disappearance, but this time it's the mum and she's been kidnapped. All I'm saying is you're gonna need to buckle up for this episode if you need company while you're cleaning the house or if you've got a long commute. Lock into this podcast episode because I'm absolutely exhausted.
Cannibal facts that'll eat at you for days. If you thought Jeffrey Dahmer was picky for not eating people with tattoos, Venezuelan serial killer Dorangel Vargas, who ate 10 people, didn't like his victims to be overweight because he thought that they contained too much cholesterol. On Thanksgiving Day 1991, 23-year-old Omima Nelson stabbed her sugar daddy William before carving him up and cooking his head in a deep fryer and eating him for dinner. In the 1970s, Jorge Nevermonte, also known as the Brazilian Sweeney Todd, would bake his victims into pies before selling them to local townsfolk. After murdering and eating his classmate in 1981, Issei Sagawa was released from prison because of a loophole in Japanese law. Since then, he's actually profited off the crime, writing books, appearing on talk shows, and starring in adult films where he bites his fellow co-stars. In 2001, a man named Armin Maiwis posted an ad on a website called Cannibal Cafe looking for someone to be killed and eaten. A German engineer named Bernd Brandes volunteered, and Armin was sent to jail, where today he's a vegetarian. In 1904, a Swedish sailor named Carl Pettersson shipwrecked on an island inhabited by cannibals. He was captured and taken to a local king whose daughter actually fell in love with him. The two then got married, had 9 kids, and Carl became the new king.
Do you know how things have to line up for that to happen? You get stuck on a stranded island, surrounded by cannibals, and you fall in love with the daughter, you become king. That sounds like a whole movie plot.
You will not sleep after hearing this spine-chilling fact. This is a fat fucking goldfish.
These are people with real-life superpowers, part 2. Daniel Kish lost his eyesight from retinoblastoma before he even turned 1, but he didn't give up and developed a form of echolocation to help him navigate his surroundings, making him the real-life Daredevil. His bat-like technique, where he uses clicking sounds, has also earned him the name the real-life Batman. He trained his brain to differentiate the difference in echoes created by his clicks, allowing him to move around even in crowds. This family in Connecticut has unbreakable bones. The unnamed family has been found to have extremely dense bones, which means they've never had any fractures. When scientists tested out 20 different people from the same family, they found around half of them had extremely dense bones. Scientists think that by studying this family, we can treat many more bone-related issues. And back in 1972, Veronica Sider claimed to see objects that were a mile away. When no one believed her, she was tested. And turns out, she was not able to just see things that far. She could also differentiate between colors, shapes, distance, and position. She was then put in the Guinness World Records as her vision is 20 times more powerful than any other normal human being.
My intuition and listening to my gut feelings saved my life, and this is what happened.
This story gives me chills because had this girl made a different choice on this night, she wouldn't be here telling this story. Alexandra was in high school when her and her friend decided to go out one night and play Pokemon Go. They drove through Central Oregon Community College, which wasn't too far from Alexandra's house, and were notified that there were Pokemons in that area. As they drove through campus, they noticed lights in their rearview mirror, so they pulled over to the side, and it was the campus security guard. A man dressed in a security outfit came to their window and asked them what they were doing, and Alexander responds that they're just playing Pokemon Go. He tells them that the campus has a curfew and no one's allowed to drive through after 10 p.m. He then proceeds to tell them that he heard that there's a really good Pokemon to catch by the gym and that he was willing to take them there. That's when Alexandra had this weird feeling in her stomach. She told him she'll just come back another day to check it out. The security guard did not take no for an answer and told them that it would only take 5 minutes, but that they had to get out of the car because there was no way of driving to that location. Mind you, at this point it was past 10 p.m. Alexandra said she immediately got chills down her spine, but after repeatedly saying no to him, they were eventually able to leave and go home. When she got home, she could not stop thinking about the entire interaction and how weird it was, so she told her mom, "Guys, it wasn't even a week later, Alexandra turned on the news, and turns out a girl was murdered on the same campus, and guess whose photo was shown as the prime suspect? Yep, the campus security guard." And you guys want to know what's super chilling? The murder victim, Kaylee Sawyer, she looked almost identical to Alexandra. The security guard, Edwin Lara, was on the run, but was eventually found and arrested after kidnapping another girl. And it turns out that this was all premeditated, and he was actively looking for a young blonde girl to murder. Now, the case of Kaylee Sawyer is an entire separate story, which has plenty of coverage, but she was walking through campus one night to cool off after a fight with her boyfriend, and that's when Edwin saw her.
Life advice that can save your life one day. If you're trapped underwater and can't tell which way's up, blow out air bubbles and they will always float upwards. If you think someone is in your house, don't turn the lights on. Although it may add comfort, you know your house a lot better than the intruder, so it will be easier for you to navigate an escape route than it will be for the intruder to find you. If you are choking and there's no one around, you can perform the Heimlich maneuver on yourself. Just make a fist and push upwards quickly on the space between your rib cage and your belly button.
There's a lot of misinformation literally everywhere, so I'm here to clear some things up for you guys. All that extra air in your chip bag isn't just chip companies saying fuck you. The air protects the chips from breaking, and a lot of it's nitrogen to keep it from going stale. Dinosaurs aren't extinct. There is zero genetic reason not to classify birds as dinosaurs, because that's what they are. Birds are dinosaurs. You know, man, we only use like 10% of our brains, and you know Einstein, man, he probably used like 12%. Shut the fuck up, that is so wrong. We use all of our brains, we just use different parts at different times. And it's actually pretty common to use 100% of your brain at the same time. It's called having a fucking seizure.
What?
This is part 43 of some of the worst submechanophobia things I've ever seen in my life. When I tell you this is the worst thing I've ever seen, I'm not joking. When I tell you that this is the scariest thing on this entire list that I've ever seen, I'm not joking. I am mostly desensitized to everything else that I have shown you in this list, but this thing haunts my freaking nightmares. So as y'all have seen in previous videos of mine, I have a huge phobia of orcas. I saw this in a video in a compilation one time and I reacted to it for YouTube and I screamed at the top of my lungs. If you want to look on my YouTube, you can. It starts off completely submerged and then it pops out of the water. It is a fake orca with a seal in its mouth. You go through, it's kind of like a dark ride. You go through, you look through the window, and it is massive, life-size orca that pops out. Also, it's abandoned. So it was actually removed in 2012, or at least people thought so, but look at this. It's still visible through the wall. Look at that. And here's what it looks like. Visible through the wall.
Fade it.
This photo makes my stomach drop to the pit of my butt and out. I can't be the only one horrified of this. I just can't be. Watch this. Watch this. Does this scare you?
Submechanophobia. Nah, I've never had that. It's like emerging out of the water. I'm scared of orcas though. Never seen one live. Okay, yeah, now imagine that just popped out of nowhere. You had no idea. Got like is that a seal in its mouth?
These are the top 5 scariest things to run into in the deep sea, in my opinion. Number 5, sperm whale. Sometimes I forget that the biggest predator on the planet catches bodies in complete darkness where nobody can see it. Believe it or not, I actually love whales. But it's thalassophobia 5 that they have 50-foot homicidal submarine spawns out of nowhere. Number 4, sea spiders. Technically, they're not even real spiders. Realistically, you don't beat those kind of allegations when you cosplay as a face hugger. Not to mention they eat by injecting and sucking the life force out of their prey until there's nothing left, like whoever Zion Williamson is dating. Oh, also their organs are in their legs, because of course they are. Number 3, worms. Of any kind. For example, the 10-foot bobbit worm who was named after a woman who de-petered her husband, or the bootlace worm, which can be over 150 feet and looks like it was pulled out of Venom's bowels.
Yeah.
The longest one was 180. Number 2, giant squid, and for one main reason, and you're looking at it. You see, they get hunted by sperm whales, and when the whales are down there, they disturb bioluminescent animals, which causes lights to flash around them, and squids can use those lights to figure out where the sperm whale is in relation to it. But the thing is, they can use that exact same logic to figure out where you are. So if a giant 40-foot squid pulls up on you, that means it saw you way before you saw him. And worse, that means it actively didn't have a reason to hide from you. And that's not a good thing. But number 1, and this might be a surprise, the Humboldt squid. Because they've actually been known to attack people. One diver got mauled by a Humboldt and nearly lost his hand. Another diver got attacked by the red spawn of Satan, and she swore that the squid tried to remove her face mask and drown her. But the worst part of it all, they've been known to hunt in groups of up to and over 1,000. And they're the only animal here with the intelligence and intent to try to murk a human. The more you know. Sometimes I wish I didn't.
These are video
Those
games.
squid were trying to take you out.
Half-Life was a first-person shooter released in 1998. It's about a physicist defending the human race from alien beasts. It was called a masterpiece when it was released, except if you lived in Germany. You see, Germany has some of the strictest censorship laws in the world. So in order for the game to sell, they needed to cut down on the violence and bloodshed. So they turned the human enemies into robots, and if you were to shoot at an NPC, they would sit on the ground and shake their heads. While everywhere else in the world, you could physically harm them. Next, the game Shadow the Hedgehog is known by many to be the beginning of the downfall of the Sonic franchise. They took one of the most well-written characters and decided to make him edgy by giving him a gun and having him curse. Believe it or not, Sega wanted to go further with this edginess by originally giving the game a T for teen rating with more violence, more swearing, and we would have seen Shadow's friend Maria get unalived. However, this was changed at the last minute, and the rating then became E for 10+. And lastly, the Mortal Kombat games are known for being insanely violent, which means it's been edited, censored, and banned throughout its 30-year existence. The original game was censored on every platform it came out on, and of course, Germany banned it entirely. And Mortal Kombat 11 was banned in Japan, as well as Ukraine and Indonesia, because of a pre-order skin that showed communist symbols. These are things that are bigger than you think, part 2. This is the world's largest turtle, and when compared to a normal turtle, you can see just how big it actually is. Now, centipedes that we find today are quite small, but in ancient times, giant centipedes like this roamed the earth. Now, we all know how big the Earth is, but 1,300 Earths can fit in Jupiter, and our Sun can easily fit 1,000 Jupiters. But that's nothing compared to VY Canis Majoris. This is a red supermassive star that would take 3 to 9 billion suns to fit. And even this is nothing compared to UY Scuti, which is the largest known non-black hole object in the universe. And this is what that hypergiant star looks like compared to the biggest discovered black hole, Ton 618.
Serial killer facts that will haunt your nightmares. Part 4. Researchers used AI deepfake technology to compile the faces of every serial killer into one man. Dude looks like a psychopath. If you look anything like that, you're probably a serial killer. Serial killer Ed Kemper was friends with the police officers who were investigating his murders. They all hung out at a bar together called the Jury Room. His nickname was Big Ed, and when he confessed to them, they thought it was a joke. Jeffrey Dahmer once made a drink laced with sleeping pills for a guest, but accidentally drank it himself. He later woke up to find that his soon-to-be victim had robbed him while he was sleeping. In 1906, a Moroccan murderer was sentenced to be walled up alive after he was found guilty of killing 36 women. His cries for help were heard for 2 days straight before he went silent. Eric.
In the summer of 2021, 15-year-old Ivan Peteshnik was brutally murdered by one of his close friends. This is his story. On May 26, 2021, Ivan was invited over to his friend's house in Taylorsville, Utah. His friend was 17-year-old Rowdy Aguilar, and the two were reportedly really close, having grown up together. That morning, at around 10 a.m., the two were seen entering Rowdy's house on the home security footage. A few hours later, Rowdy was seen leaving the house by himself, carrying a black garbage bag into the field behind his house. Not long after, Rowdy's dad was looking for him inside of a utility trailer on his property when he discovered Ivan's dismembered body and called 911. After searching the property and the field behind Rowdy's house, authorities discovered multiple garbage bags filled with Ivan's dismembered body parts. And after searching Rowdy's bedroom, they found a bloody t-shirt and knife. According to the police, the home also smelled really strongly of cleaning agents. Rowdy was then taken in for questioning, where he initially denied even knowing Ivan, despite the fact that they grew up together. His hands were covered in scratches, and when asked about that, he told authorities that the wounds came from cutting ribs for a barbecue. Rowdy told authorities that he was with his girlfriend the day of the murder, but after police found more of his clothing covered in blood, he confessed to killing Ivan. According to the medical examiner, Ivan was stabbed 26 times in the head, with one final wound to his neck before being dismembered. Rowdy was arrested and has since been charged as an adult with aggravated murder, desecration of a human body, and a few other charges. The trial has yet to take place, and there's still no motive or explanation as to why Rowdy did this to one of his best friends. But according to Ivan's sister, Rowdy told prosecutors that he didn't believe Ivan was human. Ivan was described as having the biggest, most loving heart and was a gentle giant. The 2 years prior to his death, Ivan lost both his mom and his dad to cancer and a heart attack. And as a 15-year-old, that's incredibly hard to go through. He was looking forward to being in high school and playing football and getting a job and just doing kid things. I wanted to include this short clip of Ivan before he died with his grandpa that showed just how caring of a person he was.
and she'd fall, I promise.
She starved her disabled adult daughter to death. 24-year-old Debbie Leach was a disabled woman with Down syndrome, and she lived with and was cared for by her mother, Elaine Clark. 2019, Elaine threw a birthday party for her son, and she told family members that Debbie was in her room and didn't want to speak to anybody. Those family members didn't listen and still went to Debbie's room, and once they opened the door, they were hit with the most disgusting smell. When they looked inside, they saw dirty underwear and rotting food all over the place. Debbie was just lying on dirty bed sheets, calling out to her mother, crying in pain. Debbie's skin was sore, itchy, and covered in scabs. After seeing this, Sammy, who was Debbie's cousin, told Elaine that if she didn't do something, that Debbie was going to die. Elaine just ignored their concerns and told them that Debbie was fine. As soon as Sammy and her mother left the home, they made a report to social services, and once that report was made, Debbie's doctor was going to visit Debbie because of it. In preparation for that visit, Elaine took Debbie a shower. She put her in an oversized hoodie and took her downstairs away from the bedroom. Once Debbie's doctor arrived, he spoke with Elaine, and she spoke for Debbie the whole time. Elaine told the doctor that she didn't know what her family was talking about and that Debbie was incontinent, so that maybe she did dirty her underwear, but she would always change her in a timely manner, and that Debbie was happy, clean, and healthy. At the time, the doctor told Elaine that Debbie's skin looked dry and inflamed, but didn't have any concerns about her and would check in on her in about 2 weeks. A few days after that, a social services worker wanted to check in on Debbie. When they arrived at the home, one of Debbie's sisters opened the door, and she told the workers that they couldn't come in because Elaine wasn't home, so the sister was the one watching Debbie, which actually wasn't allowed. Debbie was never supposed to be in the care of a sibling, but since the worker couldn't go in, they just left. Later that day, Elaine called social services back and told them that Debbie was perfectly fine, but they still wanted to have a meeting. So the day that they had scheduled, Elaine put Debbie in the shower, cleaned her room up, and put her in oversized clothes. Once that worker arrived, they looked at Debbie, and she looked very underweight and skinny, but she was clean, so that was good enough for them. That social worker didn't appear to be alarmed for any reason, so they decided they were going to come back in 2 weeks to check in on Debbie, but Debbie was suffering in silence. August 29th of 2019, a 999 call was made to operators by Elaine, telling them that her daughter had been sick for the past couple of days. She told them that Debbie wouldn't eat or drink, and she had now passed away. The operator told Elaine to go to her daughter to see if she could resuscitate her to save her life, but she told the operator that Debbie was cold to the touch. When first responders arrived to the home, they went to Debbie's room, and they found feces all over the floor and in her bed. Debbie's body was found lying in what they say an unnatural position in the middle of the floor, and there was maggots all over her body. Her face was completely encrusted in scabs, and her clothes were dirty and smelly. In fact, her skin was such in a bad condition that her face was unrecognizable, and if they didn't already know who this was, it would have been hard to tell that she was a female. It was clear to investigators that Debbie was neglected, and her body was sent for an autopsy. It was revealed at the time of Debbie's death she only weighed 52 pounds, and her mother neglected her for months. Elaine was arrested and sentenced to 9 years and 7 months in prison and will only have to serve up to 2/3 of her sentence before being considered to be released.
Was 12 years old. She would entertain white colonists by doing cartwheels without wearing any clothes. This is actually one of the few things we know about her that's indisputable thanks to so many written accounts. From the 40s to the 70s, many Ivy League colleges, including Yale, Harvard, and Princeton, required all incoming freshmen to have nude photos taken of them. Administrators claimed it was to gauge the rate of diseases like rickets and scoliosis, but many believe the true reason behind them was much creepier. Most of the photos have since been destroyed, but thousands still remain in the Smithsonian's possession. In 1940, Walt Disney hired 11 little people to dress up as Pinocchio and wave to people at the movie's premiere. He left them on a theater balcony with enough food and wine for the day, but there was no way for them to get down. By late afternoon, they had all taken off their thick, sweaty costumes and were naked, drunk, and swearing at innocent parents and their children.
Hey man,
This father's reaction after being confronted of trying to force his daughters, who are now deceased, to marry older men is absolutely disgusting. If you want to watch the prison interview plus learn the details of the story, head over to my YouTube channel. It's all there.
Wanted the girls to be wed in arranged marriages in Egypt, right?
As arranged marriage now, this is big story because some people, they don't know what that means. They think we force a girl to marry the man we like, which is wrong.
Amina later wrote about her fears that you intended to, and these are her words, quote, sell them to the highest bidder, to an older man that she did not love in a land that she said she hated. Okay. What do you think about it? Very funny. Very funny, really. I'm laughing. Did you see me? I laugh. It's very funny.
Crazy history you were never taught in school. When Al Capone reached prison, he was diagnosed with neurosyphilis and eventually paroled early due to his limited mental capabilities. Only 3 objects have ever been found in the Great Pyramid of Giza. Pieces of wood, a copper hook, and a ball made of diorite, all discovered in 1872. Chang and Eng Bunker were conjoined twins who were brought to America at 18 years old to perform in a freak show. They escaped and settled in North Carolina, becoming U.S. citizens, owning slaves, marrying sisters, and producing 21 children together. 3 men escaped Alcatraz in a raft made of raincoats, and the FBI never found them. One man in the Middle Ages wrote a book claiming that witches were stealing men's private parts and keeping them as pets, ultimately leading to the European witch trials. There used to be a branch of the Nile River that ran right by the Great Pyramids. This is charcoal graffiti of gladiators drawn by children that was discovered in Pompeii.
You have to hear
More
this.
you know.
A Missouri man who lives inside of a cemetery actually saw the Grim Reaper. He said that he was in his house watching TV at about 3 o'clock in the morning when he heard a huge crash outside.
Oh my gosh.
Soon after he heard sirens. And
I decided to step out and see what was happening. I walked through the graveyard like a dumbass.
Cars,
Damn it, man.
firefighters, and an ambulance arriving. He walked through the
I wish he
cemetery
would've tagged
to
me in
get a
this
better
shit.
view of what was going on. As he looked down from the top of the hill, he saw that it was a horrific car accident, a head-on collision between 2 cars, during which one of the drivers actually died at the scene.
You got it closer
After
to
watching
exactly what I
police
said
and
than the other
paramedics
guy, but
to
he
the
left
road,
out the part where I
decided
scared
to
the
start
cop.
heading home. But then, all of the sudden,
And
he
when
heard
I
something
jumped in
drop
down with
down
Amber,
from the tree beside
pulled the
him.
covers
He
up over
looked
my
around
head.
to see what it was, and standing right in front of him was a strange, gray, faceless, humanoid figure. His heart jumped up into his throat, and he abruptly beelined it back home. He continued to hear this creature
always look
behind
like
him, but he never
sort of
returned.
dumbass.
He got home and immediately locked the doors.
You just debunked the story, man. Like I said, watching these videos together with you guys, seekers, you always gotta do your own research, man. He just debunked it to us in real time. So, guess that story wasn't true. It's an edit, man. Tell me if y'all expert level at spotting out the edits. I know I can't be the only one.
Let's talk about one of the most disturbing final bosses in video game history. God from Silent Hill 3. The objective of the antagonist in Silent Hill 3 is to birth the new god that Heather Mason is carrying inside of her. In fact, every time you die in the game, the demon behind me named Valtiel revives Heather. They want this new god to be born no matter what the cost. By the end of the game, Heather ends up getting rid of the god inside of her. But before she can deal the final blow, the main antagonist, Claudia here, ends up devouring the god right in front of her, trying to complete the ritual. Except the ritual fails big time. The god is born prematurely, misshapen, and only half-formed, which gives Heather the perfect opportunity to finish it off for good. Fun fact, the face that Valtiel gives God is supposed to look like Alyssa Gillespie.
Whoa. I never knew that. That happened
A
in
mother
that game.
does the most unthinkable act to her young children. Lamora Williams will spend the rest of her life in prison after she knowingly and intentionally killed her 2 toddler sons by placing them in an oven and turning it on. She was convicted of 14 charges, including murder, in the October 2017 deaths of her sons Kayonte Penn, 2, and 1-year-old Jakarta Penn. Williams contacted police claiming she found her children dead in her Atlanta apartment. Williams reported a stove on Jakarta's head and Kayonte on the floor with severe injuries. Despite Williams' claim that a caregiver was responsible, investigators concluded she had placed the children in the oven the night before. The kid's father, Jamil Penn, called the scene as being like a real horror movie. He claimed Williams' video called him after the killing, showing his motionless children on the ground. Williams was said to have suffered from a long history of mental illness that was brought on by her father's passing when she was 19 and being a single mother of 4. After her conviction, Williams was quickly sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 35 years.
Authorities have
Cold
stopped
world.
investigating the case of a brazen thief who targeted a Japanese nursery school, even though the perpetrator is still on the loose. The crime spree began a few weeks ago when staff arrived to find more than a dozen indoor shoes missing from the cubbies where staff and students change into them before entering the main part of the building, as is customary in Japanese schools. The next day, even more shoes went missing, leading authorities to set up surveillance cameras around the school. And that's when they caught the unexpected culprit in action. Security footage revealed this weasel specifically selecting white canvas shoes, possibly because they were the lightest to carry, and then running off with them into the night. While weasels are known for collecting soft materials to build cozy nests for themselves and their families, this particular shoe enthusiast showed impeccable taste, making off with 22 canvas shoes in total. Although the stolen shoes were never recovered, the children were delighted to learn that their missing footwear might be helping to keep a wild friend warm and comfortable. These days, the cubbies are protected by netting overnight, but the little weasel's shoe shopping spree has become a favorite story at the school. I'm Jen, and I post something positive every day.
This is why you should never run a marathon without changing your shoes or socks at least once. Because if you don't, you're gonna end up like this guy who ran 100 miles without changing a single time.
Oh, the pinkies. Oh, how do you believe? Dude.
And then committing.
Change your socks, man. That's what we all took from this that clip, bro. You should change it anyway, but definitely, bro. You saw this man in 4K, man. He ran a marathon too, wasn't changing the sock. Guess you can stop, man. Or have something ready, bro. That's insane.
The alleged crime. You see her loading up her car after shopping. This all happened.
So that lifestyle influencer stole more than $500 worth of stuff from Target. She recorded everything and then went home and posted a haul. It was said that she was scanning fake barcodes, so instead of scanning the items in her cart, she replaced them with cheaper items and scanned those instead. And I mean, we've all seen videos of people shoplifting at Target, Walmart, and all that, but the reason why this video went so viral is because not only did she steal all these items, but she was recording herself stealing, and then she went home, she did a haul, and she also did a day in the life with all the items that she stole. And the only reason she even got caught was because the footage from Target was posted on social media in hopes that someone can recognize her, and one of her followers were like, I follow this influencer on TikTok and Instagram. So they reached out, and that's how they caught her. They were able to match the footage of her stealing at Target with the footage that she took to post on her TikTok, showing off everything that she stole on that day. Now, another reason why this went so viral is because people are questioning how authentic is everything that we see on social media. You know, you see this woman who has this gorgeous house, beautiful furniture, everything just seems to be put together perfectly. And little did you know, she was actually stealing this entire time. This creator has gone back to posting but has turned off all her comments, and it just makes me wonder, how are you able to risk your life, your record, you know, your family, just to have this image on social media that is completely false? Part 7.
It's a farce, bro. I've said it before, I'll say it again, man. Social media, people, they want you to see things that they control. So you don't really know what's going on behind the picture, man. It's like sleight of hand. It's all a trick. Social media, bro. People seekers, man. Wake up.
79 of some of the creepiest submechanophobia things I've ever seen. This is a gigantic dragon that is in water in Efteling again. His name is Joris de Draak, which loosely translates to George and the Dragon. I don't know why. This is just the dragon. Where the hell is George? Dutch really makes no sense sometimes. But yeah, this gigantic animatronic is sitting in like this bog in like this swamp. Someone come get Donkey and come get his girlfriend out of here. If you don't like Shrek, I don't like you. Also, bro's neck looks like a Christmas tree. Here's another terrifying photo of it. Can you imagine falling in this dirty water with this gigantic moving dragon that spits fire? I couldn't. Also, you actually see it when you're on a roller coaster. So you can either see it when you're walking on the path, or if you're on a roller coaster and you go right past it. I'd be screaming for 2 reasons. The video I have doesn't show it in the actual water, but it shows it breathing fire, and it is very creepy the way it moves. So let me know how you would feel if you were to fall in the water or even just see this thing normally. I wouldn't like it at all.
Me either. It's not really affecting me though. They said some people was creeped out by it. I don't think it really got to me. It's still scary though. That's the edit, man. Come on. We see through that.
There is something, though, that I have to tell you that I have not told you throughout this entire documentary. There's a reason why Nico knows so much about human sacrifice and the power of human blood. I'm gonna let Nico explain all this to you himself.
I went there and he opened the door. I stepped inside, he closed the door. That's when I pulled out the handgun and I shot him in the face. He fell down and I shot him a few other times in the skull. And it lasted 15 minutes more or less before he actually died because they were small caliber bullets.
That's right. Nico is one of the most famous convicted murderers in all of France, nicknamed the Vampire of Paris because he used to consume human flesh and drink human blood.
I'm Nico Clo, and I was born 52 years ago in Cameroon in Africa. My father...
Liam's case
Whoa.
reminds me of Elisa Lam. There was an update showing the surveillance footage. This footage gives off a very strange and eerie vibe, and people are comparing it to Elisa Lam. His behavior in the footage seems very odd and confusing, similarly to what happened at the Cecil Hotel. In both, something feels very off and unexplained. Also, of course, I'm not trying to make light of any tragedies, like this is really sad, I'm just talking about what's going on. The Cecil Hotel is infamous for its history of unexplained death, criminal activity, eerie events, and this viral footage of Elisa Lam in the elevator before her mysterious death. It's become a symbol for conspiracies and urban legends and just mystery. The surveillance footage in both cases are leaving people wondering what happened before and after the cameras caught the moment, because in both, everybody's saying something is off. The Cecil Hotel is famous for all of the history of creepy and mysterious things happening there, and that's why people are really curious about it. In the same way, when a celebrity like Liam starts acting strangely, it catches a lot of people's attention. Do you think something deeper is going on? Hit the plus for more conspiracies. It really helps when you interact.
When I tell
What's
you
going
this
on with
story,
Cecil
No
Hotel?
Sleep subreddit kept me up all night. First of all, posted anonymously, but it's from a child psychiatrist living out in New York City. Now, he claimed he had an experience in the middle of the night when he woke up. He said he found a child scratching at his apartment window with bloodied fingers, which, as unnerving as it is, he had chalked it up as maybe some kind of creepy anomaly. However, the following night when he woke up in his bedroom, he sensed some kind of a presence in the room. When he turned over in his bed, he came face to face with the same boy who was staring at him from the edge of his bed. So somehow this boy had broken into the apartment, and he eventually led the psychiatrist to his home in the city, which happened to be a foster home. And as it turns out, he had been returned from a number of foster families who all thought there was something wrong with him. Eerie coincidence, the next day this psychiatrist finds out he is appointed to the boy as his patient. It was like this child was stalking the guy. And if you gotta know what happens next, this is the opening plot for Before, now streaming on Apple TV.
Stillwater. I can't believe I've been making these videos for almost 5 months, and I have not talked about the terror of Stillwater. By the way, I am very sick right now, so if I sound like a frog, that's why. Stillwater is one of the most terrifying things, especially to me, but in general, it is very, very dangerous and filled with millions of microorganisms, including brain-eating parasites. You don't want to ever fall in this. Oh, and by the way, those stairs being under the water like that for I don't even know how long, if you were to go on those stairs, they would immediately break with the weight of your body, and you would crash down and be in that water with all of that underwater stuff. Underwater mechanics, underwater stairs, no thank you. Who wants to go in the Stillwater Ussie? Not me.
This is an abandoned pool that I found a picture of. Look at all the lovely infectious diseases just chilling on top like that. Here's some more images to music. How do you feel about all these?
Not I. I would not be going there. Marine eating amoeba? They need to freaking put like a warning sign or
When I tell
something.
you this story on the No Sleep subreddit kept me up all night. First of all, posted anonymously, but it's from a child psychiatrist living out in New York City. Now, he claimed he had an experience in the middle of the night when he woke up. He said he found a child scratching at his apartment window with bloodied fingers, which, as unnerving as it is, he had chalked it up as maybe some kind of creepy anomaly. However, the following night when he woke up in his bedroom, he sensed some kind of a presence in the room. When he turned over in his bed, he came face to face with the same boy who was staring at him from the edge of his bed. So somehow this boy had broken into the apartment, and he eventually led the psychiatrist to his home in the city, which happened to be a foster home. And as it turns out, he had been returned from a number of foster families who all thought there was something wrong with him. Eerie coincidence, the next day this psychiatrist finds out he is appointed to the boy as his patient. It was like this child was stalking the guy. And if you gotta know what happens next, this is the opening plot for Before, now streaming on Apple TV.
Should I check that out?
Dangerous man on earth dubbed as the White Masked Man. There is some creepy ass stuff going on in Mexico at the moment. You may have seen this video a long time ago. Now you probably remember at the start of the year and last year when we had the whole urban legend and talk about the Serbian dancing lady. This is quite similar, but there's something really creepy about it. But this guy has actually been in the headlines for quite some time when he broke into the news back in 2023. Now this white man is often spotted around the streets of Mexico, just walking around, never wearing anything different. He lurks around and has what looks like blood coming from his mouth non-stop. Now you would think this is just a Halloween costume, but he has been wearing this every single day for nearly 2 years now. One night, apparently a young girl was just doing a jog through her town in the evening. She spotted this guy on the other side of the road just stood there, waving, staring at her. As far as we know, he hasn't actually committed any crimes, but we actually don't know. And many people are saying he's taking a lot of inspiration from the Terrifier. Is this just a guy who is cosplaying, or is it something a lot more disturbing? And what the hell is bro eating?
Yeah, what was in bro's mouth, man? I do not know. It looked like he was foaming at in their mouth. And it did seem like he looked like Art the Clown. Don't let those other eggs get to his head, man. That's an edit.
Crazy things happening in the world right now. This wanted fugitive from an Ohio case 20 years ago was found working as a police officer. The New Zealand airport just put a 3-minute time limit on all goodbye hugs. A couple made guests buy $300 tickets to attend their wedding. This woman ran over her boyfriend while going to couples therapy. A family was told that their daughter had checked out of a hospital, but in reality she had passed away. An Alaska Airlines flight was turned around after the pilot admitted that he was not certified to land the plane. An AI model changed its own code in order to give itself more time. A 3D printed community in Texas is almost finished. A man threatened a Burger King worker after not taking drugs as payment and got 143 years in prison. A Chipotle employee says that their boss chased him out with a gun for not taking out the trash. Utility companies in Louisiana want state regulators to allow them to fine customers for lost profits from energy efficiency initiatives.
That doesn't even make sense.
Were the parents of Kelly Marvera in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. One night, a house fire broke out, and authorities told the parents that their 10-day-old baby Delimar had perished in the fire. And it wasn't until 6 years later that Luce was at a birthday party and saw a little girl named Aaliyah, and instantly had a gut feeling that it was actually her child. Luce grabbed a strand of the girl's hair and sent it off to the police for DNA testing, which later confirmed that it was her daughter Delimar. Caroline Correa, who was a distant friend of a family member, was charged and found guilty of kidnapping and arson. She was living with Delimar just 15 miles away in New Jersey. Correa was sentenced to life in prison. Delimar was returned to her real family, and now at 26 years old, is speaking out in a 3-part documentary to explain what life was like coping with a brand new family.
Someone made a...
Imagine, man, you thinking your daughter, your child is going through that pain and going at a random birthday party, having a gut feeling, and finding out that, bro, one of your friends took your child. I can't even imagine what that's like, man. This world, some bizarre things goes on.
Punch-Out style horror game, and it's absolutely free. Let's talk about Porkbound. This is one of the strangest horror games I've played all year, but it actually works. And it really is like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out as a horror game. You play as a young boxer named Aaron who works on his family's pig farm. And not only is he dealing with bullies like here, he's dealing with the death of his brother. But one night, the bullies actually show up to the pig farm to further taunt Aaron. And then everything starts to go wrong. What is happening to the pigs, and why do they look like this? What follows is a series of Punch-Out style boss fights with more and more disturbing looking pig-like creatures. And when I say Punch-Out, I really do mean Punch-Out. The game plays basically exactly the same way, but as you're beating the bosses, there's a greater story to uncover. Now, I do have a full playthrough of this game on my channel if you're interested, so I don't want to spoil the story here, but the game is also free, so I definitely encourage you to check it out for yourself.
Because
Punch
everyone's
Out?
talking about the possible serial killer in Grand Junction, Colorado, let me tell you about one of their most infamous murder cases. The Blacks were a picture-perfect family of born-again Christians until November 13th, 2001, when Michael came home to a pool of blood. His wife Jennifer and 6-year-old daughter Abby missing. The back door was left open, Jennifer's purse was spilled out on the floor, and her jewelry was missing. But when authorities looked at the crime scene, something was off. If a stranger had broken into their home, why would they leave items of value behind, like guns and cash? And why would they move the bodies in Jennifer's van and return it to the family's garage? In May the following year, investigators start digging through the Mesa County landfill. And after removing 3,000 tons of trash, they find the mummified remains of Jennifer Black, wrapped in a tent and surrounded by trash from her husband's workplace. Michael was convicted for only his wife's murder in 2004, but 13 years later he got a second shot at freedom. It turns out a juror lied on her questionnaire about being a victim of DV. In 2018 he got the same result, life in prison without the possibility of parole. And despite being convicted twice, he refuses to reveal the location of his 6-year-old daughter Abby. It's believed her remains are still...
Disgusting, man. Truly. Be your own blood. Heartbreaking story. That's sad, man. The expert level.
DNA test, which helped solve a cold case and put her grandmother in jail. In June of 1997, the remains of a deceased infant were found inside a campground pit toilet at the Garnett Lake Campground in Michigan. There was a toilet that needed to be cleaned by an employee, so they used a suction hose to try and clean it. That's when they realized that something had been flushed down that was causing it to be clogged, and it was a newborn baby. An autopsy was done on that baby girl, and it revealed that she was full term, so she was around 36 to 42 weeks. They had no identity for the victim, so they named her baby Garnett. Once the local community had heard about this case, they were looking for answers because they had no idea who could have done this. Unfortunately, this case became a cold case, and they would not find answers until 25 years later. This girl on TikTok named Jenna made a Get Ready With Me video talking about how she had purchased a Ancestry DNA kit. She spat in the tube, sent it off, and got her results. And about a year later, in 2022, a police officer called her and told her that they had reopened a case from about 25 years ago and that her DNA was a direct match to the victim in the case. Police end up taking a sample of Jenna's mom's DNA. With that and Jenna's DNA, they're finally able to solve the case of baby Garnett. With the information now that police had, it revealed that baby Garnett was the sibling of Jenna's mom and also the deceased aunt of Jenna. Both Jenna and her mom were aware of this case because it would be rare for someone in the local community not to know about it, and I'm sure that they were very shocked to find out that they were actually related to the victim in the case. In July 2022, Jenna's grandmother, Nancy Gerwatowski, would be arrested. She would be charged with murder, involuntary manslaughter, and concealing the death of an individual. The state alleges that Nancy had delivered the baby at her home and did not seek any kind of medical intervention to try and save the baby. Instead, she hid the baby in an outhouse in the campground. In October of 2023, Nancy was released on a bond, but she had to stay home and wear a GPS tracking device. In May of this year, it was revealed that Nancy would stand trial for the case. Nancy is expected to appear for a motion hearing in court on December 12th, and I'm sure we will get some more information soon. This is all the information that is out there right now. I'm going to tag Jenna's account in my caption so you can go check out her video so you can hear the story in her own words. And remember to go get those DNA test kits.
What if I told you that the Church of England banned Christmas in 1647? Well, you can't spell Santa without Satan. So, is Santa Claus really Satan, the devil in disguise? Think about it. Do you really believe people just made up a story about a 350-pound man stuffing himself down your chimney? No. The World Book Encyclopedia admits that this concept originated from the Norse legend of Hertha, a so-called goddess who would appear in fireplaces to bring good luck to the home. A devilish spirit could easily pass through a chimney in a fireplace, right? And it doesn't stop there. Druid homeowners would leave treats, milk, and pastries to appease this god who came down their chimneys. Sound familiar? That's right, it's all about worship. Even today, many religions leave milk and food in front of their idols. Now let's talk about stockings, leaving them out for Santa. This tradition is eerily similar to witchcraft practices, where socks or personal items are used in spells to target the victim. Just like how, as kids, we're told to leave teeth out for the tooth fairy. It's the same trap. So, yes, Santa will leave you some great gifts in your stockings, for sure. Oh, and here's the kicker. The word Santa is a true anagram of Satan. Yet many people believe Santa Claus is based on a priest named Saint Nicholas. But guess what? That priest never even existed. The Second Vatican Council in the 1970s openly admitted it was all a fabrication. And don't forget, people used to call the devil Old Nick. They're rubbing it right in your face. Some speculate this nickname comes from German and Scandinavian words, starting with Nick, which were used for dangerous supernatural creatures. So, who's really coming down your chimney this Christmas? Follow my backup account and leave a comment for part 2, because there's more to this than meets the eye. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is just a joke for entertainment purposes.
Oh, he's really getting me at the end, man. But I mean, I said he was freaking blowing reality wide open. I was saying like how some of that stuff wasn't even real and the worship. They said it was a joke though, so I don't know, man. Maybe he said that just to not to upset some people, but I think he was believing what he was saying. What do you guys think, man? Should I find a part 2 for you, man? For the seekers? I'll get it. That's it, man, for this video for you guys today, man. Tell me down below, well, comment down below if you guys enjoyed this video. If you learned anything new, leave a thumbs up on this video. Follow me on my social medias, man. Thank you for seeking the truth with me. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.